Hello. Oh, we're not live. We're not. We might be live. We're not. Maybe we are. Well, according to this, we are, and that's good enough for me. Welcome, everybody. My name is Angela Miller, and this is Women's Work, international podcast aiming to bring to you the most positive information to support your female journey on the planet, because it is a different journey. And it's a journey that is different to that of a man. And as much as we would like it to be the same and equal, it isn't. And that's pretty much the case since the moment you're born. And society is imprinting on you. Just tuning in there to the chat thing there, just to make sure that I'm all right and all is well in the world. So we have madness going on, mega change in all areas. And what that means for you is that you're going within. And this is really important, to go within and do that. Tonight on this show, actually, I'm blessed and honoured to have a special guest on the show, Paula Milo, from the Fearless podcast. She's going to be joining us very shortly, and we're going to bring to you a whole discussion on women's work in particular, and we're honing in tonight on the subject of how we work, how do we do business, how do we trade in a man's world, how do we do that effectively while still retaining an essence of femininity about it without turning into a guy, for example. So that's what we're going to be discussing. In this moment, though, I just wanted to take a deeper present moment for our dear sister who departed from earthly form last night, Gina Ginoli. And she is an eternal being, an amazing woman who has endeavoured to negate the problems that came into her life that she'd inherited, absorbed, and so on. And it's a bit shocking for many who have known her personality and known her pizzazz, because she was very punchy, she was straight to the point, she was very analytical. Hey, and we've got Paula. I'm going to bring in Paula at this point. Hello, Paula Milo. Welcome.
Hello, Angela. How are you? I'm sorry, I was trying to play with the lighting. It's so sunny here that I had to shut all the shades because I can't see anything.
Same. I don't know what's happening out there.
How are you? How are you doing?
I'm very well. I'm having a real hair moment today.
Oh, me too. It's all please. It's just stuck in a clip. I can't do anything with it.
Yeah.
Can't do anything with
it. But that's great. But you just came on at the perfect time.
Oh, good.
I was just talking about Gina Ginoli.
I know. My heart is broken. I found out last night. And it's funny because I woke up. I just woke up at late. I think it was like 11 or 11:30, or it might have been even later. And then I got all of these messages, and then Frank messaged me, and I was just heartbroken. I was just heartbroken. I don't even have words. I really don't. She was lovely inside and out. Lovely. She tried to share as much information as she received with everyone. And if you had a question, or you needed advice, or you needed you needed to know something that she knew about the body, or about how the fruitarian's diet works, she would give you any information you needed. She was wonderful. My heart is broken. I'm devastated. My heart is broken.
It is quite shocking.
It is a big shock, because I personally did not realize how serious it was. And I feel like it was a misstep on my part. Like I feel like I should have known it was a little more her condition was a little more serious than that. And I really am. I'm overwhelmed, and I'm shocked. She was lovely. She was a lovely human being.
Yeah, it's sort of been, the things I've been looking at with this is how she passed on a really significant day.
Yes. Yes. Significant for quite a few people in the group as well. So not only the day, but the significance of the day to other people in the group. In our fearless group where we all, get together and we share information. And I was surprised. I didn't realize that she had that many personal connections with that many people. It made me love her even more. It made her more beautiful. um but yeah, it's significant for quite a few people in the group, the date. A lot of people were lost. A lot of people were lost on that date, yesterday. A lot of energy.
Yeah.
I had a hard time. I had today. I couldn't do anything. I couldn't do anything. I was actually. I tried to do the dishes, kitchen, the morning dishes. It took all day to try to do that, and I don't know why. I don't know if it was. I don't know if it was because I was shocked by the news,
Mm.
or I think it's other energies at play as well. But it was like being in the mud today, just getting simple tasks done. It was extremely difficult today. But I'm very happy to be here with you now. I'm very happy.
Oh, I'm very happy that you're here.
Thank
I
you.
really am,
Thank
because
you.
we share many passions and many
I know.
alignments on many subjects.
Oh
Well,
yeah.
pretty much all of them, actually. We're very peaceful, flowy type of beings,
Hmm.
no fixed opinions. We're just like, oh, let's have a look at that.
Yeah.
And I
Yeah.
really love your perceptive eye.
Oh,
You
thank
have an
you. Thank
incredibly
you.
analytical eye.
Thank you. Thank you.
And you seem to have this ability to just assess things.
I do. I do. And through our time together, when you perform that healing on my shoulder, you actually, and I have to say again, thank you. And that healing that you performed from me that day changed the events that followed. Without that, the events that followed would never have been able to take place. You removed layers, centuries, layers of, I guess, everything that I was holding on to physically. I mean, it was physical pain you removed, but because you were able to alleviate that pain in my shoulder, and you did remove, I feel, centuries of karma, contracts, karma, unhappiness with the choice of body I was stuck in. Um, that led to me being able to stop taking medication. I stopped taking an anti-inflammatory that had been on for over 10 years. um, I was strong enough to do it. And if I hadn't received that healing from you, I never would have been able to do that. And then through the help of people in the Fearless group, you know, offering up remedies and sending creams and homemade oils. I mean, I really have been able to push through a lot of that physical pain that I'm still experiencing in this life. But I know it's there are connections that I made lifetimes ago, and I really am trying to remove those layers one by one. And that's basically what I've been focusing most of my energy on now. And it's been hard because the energies that have, I mean, this is, like I said, it's a eclipses, solar and lunar eclipses, retrograde planets, summer solstice. I mean, I really just want to go in the bedroom and hide under the bed for, for like another 4 days. Um, but I can't do that. I have to face this reality, and I'm trying, but I think we're all feeling that stuck in the mud feeling, and it's a little unsettling. It's just a little unsettling for me now. But other than that, I'm good. I'm just taking in as much as I can possibly take in, because we're living in a time like no other time. This truly is a moment in history, and it, I, I don't understand it, but I'm trying just to take as much as I can in. So how are you doing?
You've just given me chills.
Oh, did I really?
Woo. I think it was at the point you said this is the time in history.
It
You
is.
know, it is.
It is. We are, you know, I never thought I'd see a time when I walked into a supermarket and there weren't food on the shelves. This is how spoiled we are.
Yeah.
Um, I never thought that, there would be. I never thought I'd see a New York City public school closed. I mean, New York City public schools do not close for anything. The fact that children have not been in school for most of the school year. I mean, this is something that is very difficult for me to understand. Having curfew. Oh, where did I go? Having curfews. Um, go, enforced curfews. My nephew was throwing out the garbage the other night, and there were police on the street telling everyone to get back in their houses. Not the other night, a
Wow.
couple of weeks ago. Yeah,
Right.
I never I guess that's my naivete. I never thought I'd live through this time. And we are doing what we're told. We're all complying. We're wearing the masks, and we're social distancing, and we're home quarantining, and our children are not in school, and the routines are upside down. And now it's more than parenting. Now it's teaching and trying to work and have everyone under one roof and contained. It's very difficult. I don't have children. I can't imagine what this is like. I can't imagine what people are going through. I mean, I don't have children, and I'm having a very hard time with this whole situation. And I know, like, here, phase two, things are opening up again, but I just think it's going to be different from now on. I think people in general are going to be very different from now on. And I didn't see a lot of unity, and I didn't see a lot of us pulling together. Like, you know, I didn't get that I don't get that feeling. Everyone's behind the mask. You can't even see a smile through the mask,
Mm.
you
It's
know?
true.
And I think it makes it very difficult. It makes it very easy for people to just to not be kind, no eye contact, just not be kind with each other. It's very different. Like, you go into a supermarket and someone would say, oh, do you need help, can I help you? Now no one wants to look, no one wants to touch anything. It's like you touch the item that you're going to purchase, and then you get online and you leave. There's no joy in you know walking around. I was in Rite Aid the other day, because I had to get allergy medicine, and I was like, oh, stuff. I don't wanted to touch everything, but I felt like a little girl in a candy store. I was just like, oh my God, sunscreen, flower pots, you know, just excited to be out. But this is still a very scary time we're living in, and Frank and I have opinions on how we feel about this coronavirus, the seriousness of it, the way it's being handled, the money that's being thrown at it. I mean, just I
It
don't un-
has.
I don't understand how any of these. I don't understand how anyone's going to recover from this. I really don't. I really don't. I really don't. There's a restaurant that I go to once a month with my girlfriend, my friend from high school. I've been going there for uh since they opened up, I think, a year or two ago, and I really hope they're going to be there. I'm waiting to call. I'm really hope they're going to be there when this is all over.
Mm.
All small businesses, I really
Yes.
hope that all of those small businesses are still going to be there. I just think it's so strange. I mean, I don't.
Yeah, it's almost ghostly. It's in some parts in my area, in the high street. Some shops have closed down. They can't stay in business,
Right.
and this is creating this. Nobody wants to go back to work. Everybody's enjoying this lovely time. What do you mean work? I'm having a great time.
Oh, I understand. And I
Mm.
just think this is going to change I think this is going to change everything. I think this is a Frank and I were talking about this the other night. Like, and I'm not comparing it, but when we have had to pull together as people, if as a whole, we've usually done it and we've succeeded. And this time, this way, I don't know. I really don't know. It's like there are factions of people that believe certain information that's being given, and they don't want to hear the possibilities of other information that's out there. And the news and all this fear spiraling, and you have to take it all with a grain of salt. Like even watch, like Frank's mom and grandfather watch the news, and we as they're watching the news, we're like, take it with a grain of salt. We're not really sure where all the information is coming from or if it's accurate, and it's just fear spiraling and fear spiraling. I mean, still toilet paper is a commodity. Like, still now, toilet paper and bleach cleaner, you can't find toilet paper and you can't find Clorox cleaner anywhere. So I mean, and I think, I don't know if we're through the thick of it. I don't even know what they're considering. I don't even know. But still, toilet paper is a commodity. Who knew? Who knew? Who knew? Toilet paper and bleach. I never thought I'd see. I never thought. I mean, I thought it would be. I thought whatever the next big thing would be, it would be a lot more subtle. And this
Mm,
was an in your face. Do as I say. Follow the guidelines, respect authority, comply. And, that's what we've been doing, So now the next time something happens like this, they already know everyone's going to comply,
exactly.
and
Exactly. So, with the spirit of non-compliance, we like that.
I'm sorry.
How do you see women um, change? Because women are, we're in this condensed moment where children are at home, families are at home. The woman is not going to work, or has lost her job because the businesses aren't there anymore. Especially on part-time hours, if you've got children, for
Mhm.
example. How do you see women coming out of this in a non-compliant way?
I think, I think, I have quite a few friends that do have children, and my sister is a single mother of two. I do have a lot of friends, different, all from different backgrounds, that are looking at this situation differently. So I have one friend she lives in the city. She makes a very good salary. Her daughter goes to a very good school in the city. And she was very impressed with how her daughter took to homeschooling. Just as an example, daughter did very well homeschooling, worked on her schedule, actually improved in some classes than other classes. And she had made a comment saying that after this is all over, if her daughter still wanted to continue to homeschool, she would consider doing it. And then I have other friends who feel exactly the opposite way. They want things to get back to normal. They want their kids to be in school. They want their routines to go back to normal. Go out of the house, everyone out of the house before 8 o'clock, no one home before 6 p.m. And I don't know. I think this is going to change a lot of things. I think a lot of women, and I don't want to generalize, and there are a lot of men that play this role too, but I think a lot of people are going to revisit leaving their children to go to work, because I think this put a very real scare into a lot of people. And I think a
Mm,
lot of women in particular are going to really give that a second thought about leaving their kids to go to work.
right.
Yeah. And I think,
Wow.
yeah, I really do. I think we've learned, when you have to set a budget, and you're the one that goes food shopping, and you're the one that pays the bills every month, and you know
Mhm.
how much wiggle room at the end of the month you have to do whatever you have to do. And yeah, it was wonderful that everyone was home, but it's expensive to be home. You're feeding people more. They're not out. They're not getting their meals where kids are usually getting fed in school. You give them lunch money. So now everything is different. Everything has to be done at home. And if you're the one that pays the bills, and you're the one that budgets, and you're the one that does the food shopping and prepares the meals, that's a lot more responsibility. It's a lot of added responsibility. And if you're not in a situation where you're all working together for the same goal, you're not going to have cohesion in your home.
Yeah.
We have to, like, that was a big thing. Like, a lot of people liked it, or like
Mhm.
it, and a lot of people don't like it, and I think that's going to force people to make changes in their lives also. I
Mhm.
mean, there are a lot of people that learn, like, I was always one. I always joked, and it's a joke, of course, because hopefully I will never do anything to get arrested, but I always joked that I could do a house arrest because I'm a homebody. As long as I can order what I need, and Frank is at the supermarket because he's good. You give him a list, he's good. I thought I was one of those people that could do it. I really did, and I would have bet money on it that I could do it. And once this experience happened, you know, I I never felt I never felt the need to get away and get away as far as I could so much. But where am I going? I have nowhere to go. I can't go anywhere. I can't do anything. So I think a lot of people, women in particular, are going to be looking at things differently. I think they learned they could live with a lot without. I think people in general learned they could live with a lot less. I
Yeah.
think people in general realize how much you really do not need to survive, how much is superfluous, how much is excess, or it's just something for instant gratification. But I think people really learned what they need in their lives and what they don't need in their lives, and I think this was a big wake up call for a lot of people, because it was a lot of tolerance also, being tolerant of a lot of situations, and then at the height of this they throw in all of the politics. Okay, so now you're making people choose and decide once again. And when is it going to be enough? When is it enough? How much am I going to have to give up now? I mean, I don't I,
Yes.
I don't know. I have a feeling it's going to be a very difficult. I have a feeling it's going to be very difficult. I know my sister in particular was having a very hard time because she had to go back to work in the office, and she was very concerned. She's like, I have my son here. There are no camps and daycare open, so I have to take my kid to work with me. And if my kid gets sick, I need to be at home taking care of my kid. What happens to me?
Yeah.
So there's not I mean, there's not a lot of, I don't know. I just I just feel this is a very different time. It's funny because I usually always have the words, but I feel like I don't have the words. And I think that a lot of people are feeling very stuck right now. You know,
Mhm.
what do you do with your children when you have to work?
It's that has been something that I've found challenging over the years. So I came out of corporate, that world,
Yes.
and I went into natural therapies and coaching. After that, I set up a manufacturing company while I was still pregnant.
Hmm.
And that was a really ridiculous thing to do for me as a woman. The day before I give birth, I'm lifting boxes of food. Right? It's
Wonderful.
honestly ridiculous. And then I was talking to the children today and said, do you remember being at the factory at work? And they were like, yeah, oh my God, the factory. Oh, it was
Hmm.
dreadful, it was so boring. I didn't want to be
Hmm.
there. And then, this is like 4 years old. They were at the time.
Yeah, got to do
And
what you do.
I had to make a choice there. Am I going to work in a factory with my children present? Or am I going to migrate into nature? So I had to make a choice because otherwise they would not have had that experience. And I guess for me personally, I have home educated for the
Mhm.
majority of their lives. So for me, it's not a problem for them being around. They've just got
Right.
to get on with the things that they need to get on with.
Hmm.
It's this, and that was it. It was moving away from London, right? Busy, it's like New York. As soon as you're in it, you're on the treadmill.
Oh, yeah. Yeah, it doesn't stop. It doesn't stop. You wake up in the
Yeah,
morning, you check emails. You go to bed with your laptop, you check emails, and you're answering questions, and the kids and projects and bake sales and this. I mean, I really don't know how anyone keeps up. I really don't know. We're two people, and
mm,
we have to split time at Frank's mom's house, and it's a lot. I really don't know how people keep up. I
yeah,
really don't. And you have to make choices every day. You have to make a choice every day. Disappoint disappoint your employer or disappoint your child. Because I've been in situations like that when I worked full time, because I left corporate. I can't I when I had to stop working a couple of years ago, I had to make a decision, my health
Yeah.
or my happiness. And it was not an easy decision to make. I knew I had to leave that world about 4 years before I actually had the nerve to say it out loud. And then another year before I actually did it, because that's how scared I was of the idea. Because I always worked. I knew I didn't want to have children. I really didn't want to be married, so I knew if I didn't work and I didn't take care of myself, who was going to do that for me? I needed to be sufficient. I needed to be self-sufficient. I wanted to earn that salary. I wanted a career. I wanted to achieve those things.
Mhm.
And then in the end, it turned out none of that was important anyway. So it's so funny where these journeys take you. You really don't know where you're going to end up. I mean, I can't believe you in particular have made a complete life transformation. And I feel like I am a part of that. Like, I feel
You
like I'm a
are.
part of that. And that's an honor. And it's not even that it's I'm just so happy to be a part of that change for you. I mean, I was when we first met, I was so impressed because I had already known your story, a little bit of your story. And then when we had met, you were so easy, easy to be with, easy to talk to, easy to share information, easy to receive information from. I ask a question, you give an answer. I need to know how, you explain why. Do you know? And it was a beautiful thing. And when you told, and I was lucky enough to meet your daughter, your beautiful, and she was okay with what you were doing. And that's how I knew it was the right thing for you to do, because your kid was okay with it. And your kid knew it was the right thing for you to do. And I said, okay, they're all on the same page. They're all going to be okay, because this is what mom has to do right now. And it was good. I feel it was a very strong message to send to your daughter. It's never not the time for you to do what you have to do as a woman, to make a change in your life, even if it means packing a bag and moving across, moving anywhere, and doing something that's going to make you happy. You know, I would imagine as a parent, it's very difficult to lead by example because of the restrictions that you have because of parenting. You can't make the choices you want because you have to be a parent. You have to put food on the table and you have to make these choices so your kids have everything they need to be these independent adults. And the fact that your kids knew that it was the right choice for you, and they stood by you and they supported you, and they know because they have that relationship with you that it's okay. Mom's far away, but I'm okay because I can talk to her anytime I need. She's right here. She's far away, but she's right here and she can get to me anytime. And that's an independence that you gave your children. I mean, that's a gift. The fact that they could be without you and know it's okay. I can wait. Maybe I have to wait a little longer to be soothed, but I can wait. And when I do speak to my mom, I will be soothed and she will tell me what I need to do and she will work this out with me. Time, that space doesn't matter. Where you are doesn't matter. There's Skype and there's FaceTime, and you can talk to anyone in the world anywhere at any time. So I think that the fact that your kids were independent enough to know that this was the decision for you, that says a lot about your parenting. I mean it really.
Yeah.
The fact
Thank you.
they're good with you doing what you're doing, and I saw it. When I talked to your daughter, I saw it. I mean, she totally gets it, and that's a beautiful thing. I mean, just taking a chance, I mean, I've taken chances, but a lot of them were strategically planned out.
Now I like a strategically planned chance. Tell us about your methodology.
I had Well, because I am a woman and because
Mhm.
I chose not to be married or have children, I didn't have that safety net of a partner that I could make decisions with. to say this is for the good of our family, this is for the good, this is what we need to do. I didn't have that. So I knew that if I wanted to be a career person, and if I wanted to support myself, and if I wanted to do the right things, I knew particularly I had to work hard. I'm a woman with a disability. I'm a physically small woman. So, physically small women, physically small men get paid less than taller men and women. It's been proven. I'm not making it up. It's been proven. I had challenges that I had to go through because of my disability. I had challenges because of my education, because I had to put myself through college. So I didn't get to go to the best college. I went to the college that I could afford to go to, that I could afford to pay for, and in corporate, it's a roll of the dice. It's a club. It's a popularity club. How well is this person going to fit in to our needs? And will she be the face that we need? And will she not ask the questions no one wants to ask? And will she just do what she's supposed to do and not stir a pot or cause controversy? And, I played a game for a very long time. I supported myself. I took care of myself. I had many,
Mm.
many jobs, many, many different jobs, and I love them all. I was my best friend, the friend I was talking about before with her child. She is a manager for a moving company. She's managed this moving company. I think this year makes 25 years.
Mhm.
Okay. And I worked at that moving company 2 times in my life, and it was my favorite place to work both times. And I came from corporate. I worked for a Fortune 50 company. And that moving company was the both times I was there, it was my favorite work experience ever. So go figure, because I didn't care about the level, I didn't care about the promotions, I didn't care about accolades. I just wanted to know I could support myself. I didn't realize that in that quest to support myself, that I would get sucked into this game of keeping up with the Joneses and trying to climb that ladder. And, if you want it, you have to work harder. And I was already working hard. How much harder could I work? So now we're
Mm.
going to work smarter. But smarter means more time. Smarter means full transparency. Smarter means being available 24 hours a day. Smarter means always having an answer. And if you don't, always trying to find a way to get it. And that's a lot to keep up with, and I put myself on this pace because I thought that would make me happy, because I I didn't wanna rely. I didn't wanna be one of those women that relied on a relationship so she didn't have to do the work. Do you know what I mean?
I
And and
do.
and again, I'm not being cavalier about that, and I don't even mean it in a I'm not even I don't mean it in a negative way, but I failed at relationships so many times, so I said, "Okay, well, I'm good at working. I'm a great worker. I love to work. I'll work until it gets done, and then you know, when I got to corporate, I thought I arrived. And then I realized, oh, you still have a long way to go. And then I, achieved what I could achieve. And then I realized I was on this path to becoming a person that I really didn't like anymore. I was going to be one of those people that I just didn't want to be around, talk about work all the time, have your computer
Yeah.
with you all the time, and that's not in it wasn't an enjoyable life. And I was scared because I didn't see any other options. I have to take care of myself. I have to support myself, and if I'm going to work hard and support myself, I'm going to try to make the best salary I can. I'm going to try to get as much out of it as I can because I have to be here all of the time.
Yes.
Even when you're on a vacation, you're worrying about work. The preparation that went into being able to leave for a few days or a week, your position, even though people were covering you, but you're responsible ultimately for anything that happens anytime. So just being on a vacation would be stressful, and trying to go on a diet would be stressful, or trying to find some time to do something for yourself like reflexology or any homeopathic treatment to take care of yourself. These things take time. And when you're working on your career, there is no time. Okay. Because Saturday you have to cook and clean and get ready for the weekend. And then Sunday you get back to pull it all together and start again on Monday. So where is that time you're supposed to give yourself? Yoga and, Pilates and, meditation. You know what I mean? Like I eat four candy. I would eat four candy bars at 4 o'clock because 4 o'clock in the afternoon I'm starving. The cafeteria is closed downstairs, and I got another 4 hours before I can leave.
Yeah,
So where is this Zen life that everyone talks about? This work-life balance, because it's very hard to achieve.
it really, really is.
And I think when you're a woman, you're when you're and again, I hate to say when you're a woman, but when you're a woman and you have children, I think we tend to look at the situation and take ourselves out of it and look at the situation as a whole. And I think men don't do that, because when men look at a situation and men have children, I think they look at the situation with them as a focal point. So they're not looking at the greater good of the situation the way women do. They're looking at how this situation is going to impact them. I know that this quarantine, with women having to, women and men having to homeschool, a lot of men had a very hard time with it and decided to go to the office and not to stay home, because we have friends, friends and family members. There are some men that just can't do it. Do you know what I mean? Like my sister, I said, like the joke is like, we text, and every week I check, do you still have two children? Did you eat one? Because she said between the meals and the cooking and the cleaning and the laundry and everyone being on top of each other, it's like you can't, you know, where do you go for relief? But these are choices that you have to make. And these are choices that you have to make quickly. And they can change rapidly, and that, you have to give credit to that. That's not easy. Like I said, my life is a cakewalk. Frank and I can do anything I want when I wake up. There are no rules here. I don't have to have kids fed and on a bus by 7:45, or lunches made, or, it's very easy. I can do anything I want all day. I could adult, I could be a big girl today, or I could decide, you know what, my floors are clean enough. I'm okay. I can coast today. We can have sandwiches for dinner. You can't do that when you have responsibilities. You can't do that when you have a family. You can't do that when you're trying to educate your children. This whole homeschooling thing, a lot of people are looking at it a lot of different ways. It's too much work, it's not enough work, and I don't know. And again, I don't have children, so I don't say. Children are sponges. If you don't give them anything to suck up, they're just empty sponges. You have to give them things for their little minds to suck up. And there are a lot of people that feel, the homeschooling, it's too much work or it's not enough work. And, then you have to step in and you have to see how much stimulation your children can take. I'm just afraid that a lot is now, this year, 2020, a lot is falling through the cracks.
A lot.
A lot is falling through the cracks.
Yeah.
There are a lot of people that don't fit a scenario. What happens? What happens? What happens with the workforce when people realize, hey, it was nice not having to pay a big, because that's what corporations are trying to do now, not pay big rents and have people work from home, to save on office space, to save on chair space, because a lot of companies are also going to a no assigned seating, where, you just go in and you pick a desk and that's your desk for the day. I think a lot of things are going to change, and I don't know if people are going to like the changes. This proved to me I could live in a cabin in the woods. I don't need.
Me too.
I,
I'm there.
as long as I can pay my bills online, that's it.
As long as there's internet.
As long as there's internet, I'm good. Because the funny thing is, I really don't even like to be on social media. This is funny that we're having this conversation right now. But you know me, I don't have a big social media presence. I stay in the background, but this has definitely changed a lot of things for me, the way I view things. Definitely. I mean, I could be in a cabin in the woods. You never see me again. I'd make my own butter. As long as I can pay my bills online, I'll make my own butter. But, this is just a very strange time. Just a very strange time. And, it's, I, I don't know. I think this is going to be, socially, this is going to be very awkward. I think, I don't know how we're going to I think my landlady is ringing my doorbell. I have to go answer it. I'll be right back.
Okay, no worries, no worries. Um, so I just want to say hello to everybody in the chat room there. Thank you for joining us and this fabulous conversation. Hello to Carla, Jen, who's just said Gina is not dead. So I'm really shocked about that. You probably saw my face a little while ago. Sam, hello. Willow, hello. Brittany, hello. Uh, Expanded Understanding, hello. And everybody else there that's joining us, past, present, or future, for this moment. Hi, Maya. This discussion on the change of the working life and what that could potentially mean for us in this situation, because we're being eased back into a normality, but nothing ever is going to be the same again. So even I've personally had to reevaluate what is going on. What am I going to do? It's been quite an interesting journey. But what I've decided to do is that I don't want to be working 9 to 5. And I decided that a long time ago. I don't even want to work on a Monday, but I do now. I have to.
I agree. I agree.
Mm.
So what do you think your strategy is going to be now? Do you think things are going to change?
Yeah, well, immediately it all shifts because the way that practitioners, healthcare or well-being practitioners at work are going to be massively changed across the board. There's going to be a whole set of procedures that are going to be implemented to
Oh yes.
for natural health practitioners to be limited by what they can do, how they do it, and somehow it's going to prevent a connection, a much needed human healing interactive connection, unless you do it in somebody's specific way. So that doesn't suit me.
No.
Really.
No, I understand that. I mean, I
Mm,
understand that. I mean, you and I had a very intimate experience. You were not only healing me, but you were sharing my experience and you were working through my experience. So yeah, I think if there are protocols on the way that you're going to be able to do business, it's going to be very difficult.
mm,
It's going to be
yeah.
very difficult. But what you do is it's a very intimate sharing experience if you allow it to be. And I think in order for you to do what you do, you have to work with someone that's willing to allow you in access, allow you in to the experience, because it is a very it's very intimate, it's very provocative, it's very healing, but you have to allow it. You have to allow it to happen. And I know, because I allowed that to happen, I got so much out of it, because there were things that you were clearing up for me days and weeks after. Your voice was in my head days and weeks after. I mean, just provoked by a few simple questions that you said, I want you to answer honestly and quickly. Don't give yourself time to think. And I learned so much about myself in that short period of time, just by hard, fast questions that I needed to give answers to without thinking. And I was actually lucky, because I was able to share my experience with Frank and tell Frank exactly what was happening while it was happening. And to be able to come out of something like that and actually dissect the situation, and actually be able to break it down and understand how the healing is working, or why it's working, or in which manner it's working, is it, it's just amazing. It's just amazing. And I can't believe how much I learned in such a short period of time, because I thought it was going to be like a healing. Like, okay, you're going to come and do this thing and I'm going to feel better because of it. and I'm going to go on with my day. But that was so, again, so naive of me to even think that it would end there. It was, like I said, provocative and introspective and beautiful and scary at the same time. It was just, I really feel I wanted to get as much as I could get out of it, because I didn't know when I was going to be able to see you again, because now you're just, you're everywhere. But what you do is so profound, and people need to people need to experience the work that you do. So you're going to have to find a way around this, Angela, because people need to experience the work that you do, because people cannot heal on just the physical alone. And I think we're at a point where we understand that now. I think we're coming around where we really understand, and I think especially women understand that a lot of these healings are healing, not just it's not just one lifetime, it's not just this lifetime, it's not just the tragedies in this life, it's tragedies and uh circumstances that we bring in from other lives. And I don't think people give the healing enough credit to understand that you take this time, you do what needs to be done, and you you will resolve so many issues. Y- I just can't say enough about it. I really can't say enough about it. And your work is beautiful, and you need to continue it. I mean, it's beautiful.
What I would like to do is to open centres, women's centres, specifically doing this type of work that addresses the woman's experience, but also using future technologies, really advanced healthcare
Mhm.
modalities that people can literally walk into a room, resolve an issue or a
Mhm.
chronic condition that can absolutely change the way that they exist as a woman on the planet.
Well, I wish you every success, because you did it for me in one afternoon. I mean, and that was just the beginning, because that allowed a lot of other things to happen. Um, I think that's what we need as women, just a place where we can go and be understood, because healing is not, there are so many levels to the healing. There are so many levels to the healing, you know, and so many modalities to get there. I think you owe it to yourself, living in this time, to do what you need to do to better yourself, to heal yourself. I think that would be great. I mean, I think that's what women need, because we, I don't think we understand how much we shoulder every day, every week, every year. I really don't think, we realize it, because there's not enough time to think about it. And I think work like this needs to be done, and it needs to be done often, and it needs to be done many different places. So this is wonderful, Angela. I mean, this is wonderful. This is what people need. This is what people need. They don't even realize it. They don't even realize it, because they're so, I guess, so wrapped up in what everyone else thinks about these types of healings. And, it's not a pill, and it's not a prescription, and I think we really need to look at the way, we really need to revisit the way we heal.
Yeah. So when you combine that with flotation therapy,
Oh boy. Yeah.
right, light therapy,
Mm-hmm.
magnets, sound, and Patrick Flanagan, neurophone, here stimulates the inner cortex. And so when you combine each thing, you're going to be able to dramatically reduce the healing time by half.
I can't wait.
Absolutely fascinating, because the body has this intelligence, it knows what to do. And that intelligence is the soul's experience.
I agree with that. I do agree with that. I don't think we ever forget anything. I just think we can't recall it. So I think there's a lot of there's a lot of knowledge in there that we can't access And I think that those layers need to come up so that we can heal from them, because I don't think we forget anything.
Yeah.
And I think it's all jumbled up in there because it's years and lifetimes and centuries of information that we are not allowed to access. So I think that makes total sense. I mean, think about it. You go in and you take care of everything in one place. It may take time, and
Yeah.
it's going to take work physically and spiritually. And if you're willing to do the work and put the time in, I think I can't imagine. I mean, I know what you did for me in one afternoon in my bedroom, one afternoon. And that wasn't even, that was in the middle of, you know, like we were entertaining. I mean, I can't imagine. I can't imagine if I was actually there specifically for what I thought would be an issue, because I know I'm sure you have to take it, you intake and you receive a lot of information to even know where to start healing someone. Um, because you think it's one issue, but it could be a completely different issue, as you and I discovered when you were healing me. I mean, you brought to light things that I thought were earthly issues that I had in this life that were non-related that were unrelated to anything else. And you made me realize that it wasn't. And once I could see the connections and how things were tying back to past lives, and once I answered the questions that you asked, and you said, don't take time to think, just answer the questions. I was shocked by some of my answers because I wasn't surprised. That's why I was shocked. And I did answer honestly. I did answer honestly and shocked by the answer. But then I had to really look at that. I had to, after you left, you and Aaron left, I thought about every day, I thought about the healing that you performed, and I thought about the questions, and I thought about the responses, and then I thought about how those responses affected my life up until then. And then that's how I was really able to close a lot of the loops. A lot of the loops and a lot of the issues. And even Frank said, it was about a month after that, he said, you have a little more I could see physically you have more mobility. And I said, that's Angela did that. I said that was a side effect. That was a side effect of the healing, was the mobility, because it wasn't a physical healing, it was a spiritual healing. It was centuries of healing. The side effect was that I had a little more mobility, but that mobility allowed me to stop taking a medication. That mobility allowed me to think clearer about what needed to come next. That mobility took a lot of the physical stress and pain off my body, which did allow me to put a thought together about why I'm feeling the pain I'm feeling. Because a lot of our pain is tied to memory, it has nothing to do with physical illness. And women specifically do not understand that.
Yeah.
They're like, no, it's just pain. No, you're harboring pain from past life trauma. You're harboring pain from contracts that you did not resolve, close, contracts that had issues. You're harboring that pain from unfinished business that needs to be attended to. And it's time to it's time to take care of business. I don't want that. I want to be light and breezy. I want to be a point of light once again, and I want to go. I want to leave all of this stuff behind, and I want to take my little point of light and Frank's little point of light and cat point of light, and I want to go. And I don't want anger, resentment, jealousy, hurt feelings from the ninth grade getting in the way, because this is what it
Yeah.
comes down to. This is what it comes down to.
Mm.
I mean, and I'm making light of it because there were some major issues, and I've been through major issues. But it starts there. It starts
Mm.
noticing that you need to make a change because your health is more important. Like, all of those healings, they help you physically, but they help manifest a better you, a better mental picture, a better physical being, a better, just just a lighter just a lighter and happier experience. And that's what I want. That's what I at least that's what I want. I just want to be, and I want to be without pain. I want to have a memory, and I want to have an idea, and I want to think about something for the future and not have it be tied to a pain memory, from the past with a little red flag saying, no, 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 don't go there. You're going to get hurt. Remember, remember the pain. Remember the pain. Don't try to do that. I don't want that. I want to break all of those connections. I don't want to be afraid and not know why I'm afraid because some receptor is telling me, oh, no, 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 pain, 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 ninth grade, 11th grade, when you were 24 and rejected and, when you had your heart broken the first time and, I don't want that. I want those connections gone. I want to have an earthly experience. I want to have a physical experience. I want to have a beautiful spiritual experiences that aren't tied that aren't tied to pain memories from 100 years ago. I want to live. I want to breathe. I want to take a deep breath and not care and not worry, at least for a moment. And just to be able to have a thought and say, you know what? I can do that. If I have that thought, and I put a strategy together. How can I make that happen? And that's basically what you did. You set your whole strategy in motion. You knew what you had to do, and you meticulously did everything you had to do because that's the only way it would have been done. You didn't just haphazardly say, "I'm going to change my life," and it's great. I mean, and that's beautiful.
It is. And you talking about strategy is a key here for any creator, any woman that's got an idea or concept. And I love the way you refer to it as a tool. Can you speak more about that? How you formulate a strategy that you can apply to any life situation?
I think. Well, we are numbers, right? So Paula has always loved spy movies since she was a kid. I never understood why spy movies. Now we know because I think that was intelligence was part of my business in past lives. So I was, I think that I always accepted the role. So the strategy came easy. In this life, because I was basically everyone's gone. My parents are gone. My most of my family is gone. I have my sister. I have a cousin and an uncle. A couple of cousins left.
Yeah.
And I think having to take care of myself at a very young age and not having parental support. I had family support, but I did not have parental support. I think you have to, as a child, and I think children that are shuffled around from home to home would agree with me. And I think children that are stuck in a system or in foster care would agree with me too. You have to learn to be self sufficient. You learn at a very young age that people will not believe what you say and they will not take you at face value because you do not have representation. Now, this is just the way I'm looking at it. You do not have representation. Okay. And when you are young and you are vulnerable and you do not have representation, those are the children that get plucked for anything. Oh, no mom and dad around, no one keeping a close eye, no helicopter parent around you. Okay, you're ripe for the picking. And I knew that could have been the situation. And I don't know why I knew, but I knew from a very young age. I had to be very careful and I had to plan out what was going to happen because I had a lot against me. I was, like I said, a small woman. I had a physical disability that my family did really not acknowledge. I had a very hard time getting work, finding work, keeping work at a young age because I always looked younger than I'm almost 50. I always looked younger. So even when I was in my role, people didn't see me that way. So it didn't matter that the work was done and the performance was going on. They were like, oh, it couldn't be her, she's too little for that, or she's too young for that, or she can't know that. So it was always underestimated my whole life. So I think expecting that I was going to be underestimated helped me prepare for a lot more because I always had my ducks in a row. If you were going to come at me, I was going to come at you, but I was going to be fact based. I was going to talk from facts and not from emotion because what happens when women start talking from emotion? No one wants to listen anymore. Even if you're right, even if you're 100% right, people stop listening because, oh, here she is. She brought emotion into it. So I kind of knew I had to stick to what I could prove and what I could show and keep what I could deliver or what I could perform out of it, because it wasn't going to matter, because they didn't think I could do it anyway.
Mm.
Nothing. No one thought I could do anything. I mean, if I listened to everyone that told me I couldn't do anything, I would probably be in a wheelchair in a room looking at a wall, because that's where I would have been if I believed everything that everyone said. So I think I had to formulate a strategy very young, because I knew I had no representation and I had no one to say, can't do that to her. I had no backup. Um, and I think that's why I was so guarded in my relationships, because I really didn't trust that anyone was going to have my back. So when you don't trust it, you have to form a strategy to maneuver through your life. So everything I did, people thought, I had worked from the time I was 17 or 18. I always had a job. I was never out of work. I think the longest I was out of work in my lifetime was 5 weeks from job to job. And then when I realized that I had to leave my career, I was very strategic about it, because I knew I had to support myself too. So I had to figure out exactly how I was going to live, what I was going to live on, what was going to keep me floating while, I because at the beginning I didn't think I was going to stop working. I couldn't believe I can't believe now that I don't work. I can't believe now that I still work 9 to 5, like a 9 to 5 job. I'm still shocked, you know, but I had to put a very sound plan together, because I didn't have anyone to say, "Hey, I made a mistake here. Can you help me?" There was
Mhm.
no one to call.
Mm.
There was no one to call if a mistake was made. So
Mhm.
I think that learning how to put a strategy together very young probably saved me. Probably made it very easier for me to maneuver in my life, because everything was done pretty yeah, a little bit methodical, like even entering into this new world with Frank, the show, the Fearless group, there was a little bit of a strategy put together there too, because we didn't know each other well when it started. We only knew each other for about a year. We didn't know the inner workings. Yeah, I mean, we knew a lot, but y- you're taking this chance with someone. I don't know what his business sense is. I don't know. I didn't know how responsible he was at that point. I didn't know how serious he was taking things, but he took them a lot more serious than I did. But, you know, when you have to do something with someone else, it's very difficult, because you don't know. You assume, you have a conversation and they sound like they have your work ethic, but you don't really know until you do it. Um, you share your strategies and your plans, and sometimes it works out and sometimes it doesn't. I mean, Frank didn't even want to friend me on Facebook in the beginning. And I said, if we're going to do the show together, we have to be friends on Facebook, because we're sharing the show flyers and the posts. But he was just at a point in his life where he didn't want another woman telling him what to do. And I said, I don't want to be a woman telling you what to do, but if we're going to do this thing together, you're going to have to trust me. And he did. He did, but it took a little bit, and I had to trust him, But again, it wasn't easy. And like even now when we make decisions about what direction we want to go in, it's everything is planned out and everything is discussed, and we look at it from every angle, and we see how it's going to affect not just us individually, how it's going to affect our situation. So a lot of work goes into very little decision, very small decisions, but that's how I feel safe doing things. I've never doubted myself because of the strategies that I pulled together. I never doubted myself because of the way I decided to do things. Sometimes if things take a bit longer, it's okay. Some people are impetuous and they run into things, and I do that too. But when things are planned out and when you have a plan and you have a personal goal, I find that it works out. Things work out a lot easier, you know? I really do. I really do. But it's hard because you want transparency. And sometimes we can't have that, And even with Frank and I, like we talk about it, and Frank's like, well, I'm not sharing that idea yet. And I say, I respect that, and I'll say, I'm not ready to form an opinion on that yet, you know, and we're okay because it's honesty, but full transparency, it's hard. It's hard because some people are not ready to hear some ideas yet. Like he hits me with these things and I'm like, okay, I need time to process what you said. And then like I'll respond and he'll say, okay, I need time to process, what you're thinking. And yeah, it's a lot of give and take. It's a lot of give and take. And I had to learn how to compromise because I was, I, I was alone. Even in relationships, I was alone. So it didn't matter. Even in a relationship, I was alone. So if I had to make a decision, it had to be a decision that was going to pay off for everybody, or
Hmm.
it had to be a decision that was definitely going to pay off for me.
So you've had to realign yourself away from every type of thinking that has been projected at you,
Almost
work,
every. Mhm.
relationship, ships,
Yeah.
interactions in daily life. You've had to come back to you
Oh yeah. Yeah. And
every time.
it wasn't easy. Before I met Frank, I was single for almost 10 years. Almost 10 years. I dated socially, but nothing more serious than that. I dated a man who didn't know I had cats. Months. He didn't know, and now anyone who knows me knows I feed anything with a face. If it has a face, I will feed it.
Out the kitchen window.
Out of the kitchen window, and you know that because 'cause you've seen it, okay? That's how guarded I was. I dated a man who did not even know I owned a cat.
Wow.
So, yeah, and that was my strategy because I put a fence up and you were getting that close and you were not getting through the door because
Yeah.
that's how I needed it to be, and it worked for me. It did work for me. Did it work for him? No. He wanted a relationship. He wanted someone that was going to be in a relationship, who was going to be present, and I couldn't
Mm.
be that person. But that was the strategy I used for me, and it worked. And then Frank came in and everything got thrown out the window. But, even still, everything we do, there's a strategy behind it. There has to be, I mean, especially now. Things are just very different now. Like, honestly, I mean it. I could run away right now. I could run away and hide and never be seen again and be okay with that. And it's weird. It's weird that I feel that way because I've never felt that way before. Like,
Mm.
I could just pick up and disappear right now, and I
Mm.
think I could live a happy life. But I can't do that because that's not the thing to do right now.
No, I know, I know. I feel like that too. I could quite easily just be off somewhere, not having doing and all these things. But
No, you have
I
a
love
job
it.
to do, Angela. You have a job to do, and it's very important. You can't hide anywhere. You have a see, I was always a background girl, so I'm okay with that. I'm okay with you being in the spot. I'm okay in the background. Like, we joke about anonymity all the time. I don't even want anyone to know who I am.
Well,
But
I was
you
like that. Really, I
had
hid for years. Hid.
but you can't hide now. You have to do what you have to do. You have
Mm.
to do this. This is a must, Angela. People need these healings. People need these understandings. People need to understand that this is not the only life, that they're harboring these issues. Life is so long and it's so circular. It's not just this life. These issues you just didn't accumulate these issues in this life. It was too short. Not enough happened yet. And I think you need to give people an understanding of that. You can't hide anywhere. You have to be where you have to be where you have to be. You have to do this.
Exactly.
This is important work.
Yeah, it is. When you were saying that, I was just thinking, wow. I was thinking in this stream of, wow, that's just memories encoded in light, and it's all happening now. So when you begin to think about that, of like, wow, if all that is happening now, and I'm here now, and all that is moving through my reality, wow, whew, it can be overwhelming.
It can be overwhelming, and I think this is going to make this whole situation this year, 2020, is going to make people look at what they call mental illness very differently, because I don't think it is mental illness. I think it is people who just cannot deal with the layers and layers of reality and being hit with everything all at once. You can pull in these fractals. Your body is saving space for all of these pain memories. I mean, there are also happy memories in there too, but the pain memories hold up a lot more space, you know, and there's not enough time to work these things out the traditional way and see a therapist and have them not understand what you're talking about or what you're feeling because they weren't trained in new ways of thinking. Okay, they were trained by men who wrote textbooks 40 years ago and said this is how you handle mental illness, and that's not it at all. It's all of these issues that you think are were contrived from this life. It's all that you're carrying with you, and some people can see and some people can't see, and some people aren't sure what they're seeing.
Mm.
And it's overwhelming because it is all happening now. So you have your reality, your earthly life, paying the bills, feeding yourself, getting to work, uh, all of the earthly things that need to be done while you're dealing with all of these spiritual experiences that you're having while this is happening. It's a lot to process, and it's a lot for people to process. And then you throw these groups of people in where the universe surrounds you by people that are not your people, so that you are unable to find your people. And that makes it difficult too, because this doorbell has not rung all day long. I'm sorry, and who's
I've
calling?
got the same thing. I've got teenagers making noise and they know mum broadcast at this time on a Monday night and they're doing it on purpose, I'm sure. Yeah, for sure. Said teenager knows the rules of the game, hopefully. Oh dear. So yeah, it's quite fascinating. What we're touching upon here is we're all being presented with this mammoth change at the moment, and it is going to change the way that we work, the way that we parent, the way that we operate in our daily lives, you know, because essentially we are evolving in this experience, but also while we're evolving, we're in a very grounded, real experience of survival. Or maybe this is it. Maybe we need to transition away from system survival step by step into something where we can, a dream that we can strategize, for example. That really interests me. A dream that you can strategize and bring through from those creative processes that we're all experiencing into something that's going to benefit your life, the planet's life. And I think that that might be where we're all going.
Oh, I agree. I agree. And I think that's what I've done over the last couple of years. I think I took an unhealthy situation and I made the best out of it. And that's what I'm doing now. These things out there are less important. It's it's what's going on. It's the day to day. It's the day to day that we have to deal with. It's the way we look at what's happening to us, how we process what's happening to us, and when we realize that a lot of this has nothing to do with us. A lot of it is outside interference. And once we can push through all that and separate ourselves from that, I think it makes it a lot easier too. What's the matter? Why are you crying? But yeah, I
Oh,
agree with you. I agree with you. There's a lot to push through, but once you do it, and once you make a conscious effort not to get stuck in the other stuff,
mm,
I think we're better off for it, because I think that's what I've been doing the last couple of years. I really do. Just staying away from what doesn't suit me any longer.
yes.
And I feel healthy, like my head, my heart. I feel healthier than I have in a long time. I feel clear. I feel clarity. I feel light. I feel less burdened. I feel more, I can be more honest. I can say what needs to be said. And I believe to be truthful and to have your feelings hurt for a few moments, but to have the message out, is much better than prolonging things and not being truthful.
Mm.
Like Frank and I do it. And it's hard. Like he'll say, "Oh, you hurt my feelings," and I'll tell him that wasn't my intention, but this is where we're at. Instead of going around it, like when I started cooking, I was like, please tell me if you don't like something, because you never have to eat it again. Don't skirt around and tell me that you like it, and then every time I make it you cringe because you have to eat it. Don't do that. Don't do that to yourself. Why would you do that to yourself? And why would you do that to me? And that's just one example of something simple. I don't like carrots. Don't make me eat carrots. You know what I mean? But if we could be honest about those things in our lives normally, like, when you do that, it hurts my feelings, or when you do this, it upsets me. That should be enough. You shouldn't need to know why, the inner workings of why. My telling you my feelings should be enough, but it never is. People have to explain away their lives, because that's how we're programmed. Okay, because we're not believed, because the media and everything around you makes it, I mean, all of these you know they've been talking about, and I'm not going to talk about it because Frank likes to talk about it, but like all of these rituals in Hollywood, and these uh just satanic rituals and cults and things that are going on. People have been talking about these things for years. Why doesn't everyone believe them yet? What else has to happen for you to believe what I'm saying? Do you know what I mean? Like Frank and I have been talking about this spirituality. Why can't you believe that I believe this and it makes me happy and it makes me feel good, and I don't have to tie a religion to it? I am living out my life a clean and decent way, and a spiritual way, and I do no harm to anyone or anything. Why isn't that enough for you?
Yeah.
And if it's not enough for you, then I don't want to be around you.
Exactly. And Paula, what you've just done there is you said exactly how I feel business should operate in the future for women.
Really? Oh, good.
You've just honed in on it.
I'm glad. I'm glad, because we have to be honest. This is not going to work. This will work. And you try it and you see. And I just think people just need to say what they mean and not what they feel. You know what I mean? Or not what they think you want to feel. Just say what needs to be said, because business is expensive no matter how you look at it. It costs someone something, no matter what it is. And I'm not even talking about money. Okay. The idea of business is going to cost you something. Why do you want to set yourself up to fail? Frank and I have a business. We have a business of doing a show. We have a business of being in a relationship. We need to be honest. And, it's funny because the universe will tell on you anyway. If you're not on, the universe is going to give you up, because the universe will lay everything out on the table, and the universe will show you exactly where you're at, whether you want to see it or not. And sometimes we like to look, and sometimes we don't. So you're going to get your answer one way or another. If you're opened up and you're connected and you're tuned in, you're going to get the answers whether you like them or not. So let's just cut to the chase, and let's just try to be as honest as we can.
Exactly. Because then it simplifies the process.
Oh
But
my,
people are really going to have to get in
Angela, hang on.
contact with their own honesty. Yeah, no worries, no worries. Yeah, their own honesty to themselves, being honest as to the reality. Is evaluating, that's it, evaluating these different areas of your life as a woman. So, evaluating the business of work and how you exchange your energy, evaluating your relationships. Are they healthy or are they toxic for you? Um, with your children, how are you going to raise your children if you have them? How are you going to care for yourself? This for yourself, really, you are the biggest engine of compressed light functioning here. It should all be about you, really, and what you do for yourself as a business, as your flow of energetic exchange into the world for goods, services, products, and any other thing that you do. Surely not. Because if we live in this world where we are recompensed for those services, skills, products, and so on, then we will find ourselves needing to engage in some sort of barter. Normally, it's an hourly rate, a salary, a payment of some sort for that service, goods, or product, whatever that might be. But you choose how you interact with your choice. So that's what Paula was talking about, is this choice with the strategy of what you want to do, and you make the decisions. You're in the home. It's your home, your life. And I was just talking about, going on from what you were saying about the your work is a business, your relationship is a business, the way you raise your family is a business, the way that you are here, you are a business of energy exchange.
But I agree with that, and I think, I mean, for me, that's what works. I mean, everything here is run not today. Everything here is pretty much run like that. It was hard for Frank because he was, and again, not to bring Frank up into it, but Frank is a very big part of this. For him, it was very hard for him to compromise in the beginning, and it was very hard for him to share because he didn't have to. Everything was together but separate. And then he meets me, and the way I share everything. If I have it and it's in this house and you say you like it and you want it, you can have it. It's my pleasure to give it to you because everything is shared. So it was very difficult for him to come into a relationship where he's with a sharer and he doesn't like to share. So there were compromises. It was very difficult. But I think in when you learn about yourself and you learn about what you can and can't handle, I mean, I think you should apply that to every aspect of your life, and it should be handled like a business. You know the business of raising children. It's not cheap. It's not easy. No two children are the same. You can't use the same strategy with both children. It doesn't work like that. Even in relationships, I mean, it's very difficult, but he needed to understand that this is how I live my life. You come in, you can have anything you want, you can do anything you want, just be mindful and respectful. And I think that was difficult for him because he was waiting for all of the restrictions. Oh, you can't do this and you can't do that. It's not my place to tell you what you can and can't do. It's not my place. You come, we're
Yeah.
going to share a life. We're going to share a life. You know what I mean? There's no restrictions. You just have to be mindful. And I think he didn't believe it. He kept telling me, no, 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 I don't believe this. I don't believe you. It's not this easy. It's not this easy. And now it's 5 years. And now he understands because in the beginning he thought I was basically full of shit and making stuff up. He was like, it can't be that easy. And I said, Frank, in my life it is that easy. That's how it is. But I don't understand how can you say something and then manifest it and then it happens. And I said, Frank, you have to trust me. You have to have a little bit of trust. And then once he started seeing how you can manifest things, how you can align your life with what you want, and you did it too. How did you make the you're in another country. I mean, that's not something that you say overnight. I'm going to go to another country. There has to be a plan put into place, and it was effective and it worked because you're there and you're doing it. But one person has to believe you can, and one person has to trust that you can do it. And if you have one person on your side, you can do anything. One person that believes in you, you can do anything. And you know this. And I got him to understand this and I got him to believe this, and now we're on the same page. And when you have two people on the same page, you're unstoppable. You can do anything. I went to this seminar. I went to this seminar because before I met Frank, I was going to flip houses. That was the thing I was going to do. And my best friend and I were going to do it together. And we went to these seminars, and I was in California, and there was a couple, and their combined salary was less than my salary take home. Now, it has nothing to this story has nothing to do with salary because I made a mid-grade salary. I didn't make great money. I made good money. I didn't make great money. I don't even care about that. Their combined salary was less than what I brought home as a salary. That I
Mm-hmm.
was complaining already that I couldn't live on, which was completely untrue because I could. Because you don't need all that stuff. But because this couple was on the same page and they were strategizing their plan together, they knew where they had to cut corners, they knew where they had to sacrifice, they knew where they had to save money, and they knew where they had to put their knowledge together. I'm good at this and you're good at that. Let's do it together. They were flipping homes. They were flipping homes in 18 months. They had flipped like 3 homes because they were both working for a common goal together.
Mm-hmm.
They both
Mm-hmm.
knew what was at stake and they both knew what they had to do to achieve their goals. Okay, so the money had nothing to do with it because everyone's like, oh, if you don't have money, you can't do this. Oh, if you don't have money, you can't do that. That's not true. Money comes. You'll find a way. The universe will find a way to get you that money. But the fact that these two people were working together and building a dream and
Mm-hmm.
accomplishing what they wanted to accomplish together because they were both on the same page. It was a beautiful thing to witness because here I am, my salary is more than that, and I'm sitting in the corner complaining about all the things that I don't have because I'm not working towards anything. I didn't know at that point how to work towards making something like that happen, how to get someone else on the same page as you, and then it clicked and then I understood, you know. And I used that example with Frank. I was like, Frankie, these two people managed to accomplish so much because they both knew what was at stake, whatever it was for them. Do you know what I mean? Like whatever
Mm-hmm.
it was for them, and when you have a dream and you want to get something done and someone else realizes that or helps you realize that in yourself or for you or with you, that's something that you have to take action on because they don't come often. those types of those types of possibilities, people don't act on them. They dream about them every day. They have these ideas because people don't understand that all the ideas that you have are not your own. Some of them are divine and some of them are planted in you for you to realize things. But sometimes we just don't act on them because we think they're too big. But when you break it down and you say, okay, what should I be doing first to achieve part of this? And then you build a plan. And then you get it done. But you can't do anything without a strategy. You can't, especially women. You can't because there are so many other things that get in the way. You know,
Mm-hmm.
there's so many
Yeah.
things that get in the way. And we're caretakers. So we do get stuck in the emotion. We do get wrapped up in, we try to stay professional and we try to keep a business head and we try to think
Mm-hmm.
like men and we try to strategize and then emotion. Okay. So now we have to clean up
Yeah. 2 weeks later.
heartache. Then we have to clean up that. Oh, okay.
Mm.
Problems. Okay.
Yeah.
Like my landlady. Okay. My landlady is going to be 100 years old in November. And Frank and I love her. So, and she's a tough woman. She doesn't ask for help. She doesn't want help. I mean, I bought her dish towels when I moved in. They were $2.99 at the Christmas tree shop. It was a set of dish towels. She yelled at me for these dish towels that I wanted to strangle her with the dish towel. For $2.99, you're giving me a heart attack. Just take the dish towel and say thank you. Okay.
Mm-hmm.
Now I've gotten her to the point she needed house dresses. Paula, could you look in your magazines and order 2 house dresses? So I said, okay. So we ordered the house dresses for her. She got them. So this time it was slips. She wanted 2 half slips. Could you look in those magazines? I ordered them at Amazon, but she thinks it's a magazine. Could you order 2 slips for me? I need 2 half slips for my house dresses. Okay, Mary, I ordered her the 2 slips. So she came back to say thank you. They were beautiful. So I said, anything else you need, Mary, just let me know. Just give me time so that I can get it for you. And now she understands that it's okay to receive help too. okay? Because this is ridiculous. You're going
Mm.
to be 100 years old and not going to ask for help.
Yeah, right.
Pull out the garbage pail, please. I don't want your arm to break off while you're trying to pull the garbage pail out, you know. But this is women, you know. I mean, she's tough. She never asked for help, didn't need any help, and now she's almost 100 years old. She still doesn't want the help. And it's like, but you're going to get the help whether you like it or not. So you're either going to take it reluctantly, and I'm going to give you the help anyway, or you're just going to say thank you for the help, because you're getting it one way or another. And that's what we do. We do what we do, whether you like it or not, because it's for your own interest. And that's the way it is. Right,
Yeah.
right or wrong.
Yeah. Yeah. I love that. It really just opens up, you know, having an idea, and that could be applied to anything, whatever that idea expression is, the thought, whatever that is. Have a plan. How am I going to achieve that? And then suddenly, just even from making that choice,
Yes.
oh, right, okay. Oh my goodness.
Yeah.
Wow,
Yeah.
wow. And
Because
suddenly you're there.
yes, because the universe wants to guide you in the right direction. So listen. Listen. And I'm only saying this because there were so many times I didn't listen. I didn't listen. When I was at corporate, I was promoted a few times, and I was eager to be promoted more. And I thought, and this is just my story, I'm sharing it. Full transparency was the way to go. So now I shot myself in the foot twice for 2 promotions, because I thought if I played by the rules and I had full transparency and all of the players knew my cards were on the table, that this would be the best thing for me. I didn't realize I was playing by a completely different set of rules. And it was a mean girls club and a big guys, and a big boys club. And if you weren't fitting in and you weren't part of the club, you weren't going to get anywhere. And that's when I realized I didn't like playing that game anymore, because it was
Hmm.
making me be a person I didn't want to be.
Hmm.
And when they say if it's too hot, get out of the kitchen, it's not that it got too hot and I couldn't handle it. I didn't like what I was seeing. I didn't like what I was a part of. I didn't like
Hmm.
what it was becoming. I didn't like who I was becoming, because when you're tired and you're working all the time, there's nothing left for anybody else. And when you're trying to share a life with someone, you have to have something left. So, and it's like I said before, either your employer is disappointed or your kid is disappointed. You know
Hmm.
what I mean? It's one or the other, because you can't make both people happy. And then I said, I
Exactly.
just don't want to do this anymore. This is going to kill me. And it was funny because I had been trying to lose weight. I couldn't lose weight. Once I stopped working, I was able to lose weight. I consistently lose weight every year. This has never happened to me in my life. Okay. Because that stressor isn't there. Um,
Yes.
the things that I thought I needed and were important aren't there. I'm not keeping up with the Joneses, okay, who has the nicest briefcase and set of shoes and, the nicest coat. And, I mean, these are just stupid little examples, but you're always keeping up. You're always keeping up with someone because it's a mean girl club, and I'm saying it. And if people don't like it, I'm sorry. But if you
It's
work in
true.
environments, you know it. It's a mean girls club, and if you're
Yeah.
not in this club, you're not getting anywhere.
Yes.
And you either play the game or you don't. And I said, no, I don't want to play this game. I don't. And then I left my career. I took almost a year off for my health, for the cerebral palsy. And then I said, oh my God, I have to go back to work. I can't not work. I have to go back to work. And I went back to the moving company. So I left, I didn't go back to another corporate job. I
Mm.
was making I was making almost half of what I was making, but I wasn't doing it for the money. I was just doing it so that I had a job, because I wanted to go to a job. And then that wore me down. And then I said, no, this is going to kill me. I'm going to have a heart attack. I'm going to have, or a stroke.
Hmm.
I'm going to take a hit with my condition. I'm not going to be able to recover from it. This is not worth it. And then I needed to look at my life and where the money in my life was going and what the money was being spent on. And I said, I'm spending it on doctors and antidepressants and trying to lose weight, and none of this is happening because my environment is the one that's making me sick.
Yes.
So I changed that, and I changed everything. I've 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 never felt so clear in my mind as I have since I've stopped working. I've never been able to make such reasonable choices because I'm not motivated by the next thing I need to get or do or go. I mean, I lived a good life. I was going on vacation a couple of times a year. I had just bought a house. I mean, I was, and I was proud of myself because I did this all on my own. No one helped
Hmm.
me. No one gave it to me. No man bought it for me. Do you know what I mean? Like,
I
I
do know what you
did
mean.
myself. I did it. And it meant so much to me because I did it myself. And I said, no one, I did this all on my own. Like, I can reap the rewards of this because I did this for me. I did it. No one helped. No one stepped in and helped with this.
Yeah.
So when I gave it up, it was very difficult because I felt like I threw away in the beginning everything that I
Right.
worked my whole life for.
I see.
But I didn't, because I ended up saving my life. I ended up saving my life because my health was compromised.
Hmm.
My physical pain was through the roof, and nothing I took and nothing I did was soothing me. I couldn't even self-soothe myself. It got so bad. So these decisions that we make are critical, but if we're making them for the right reasons, we can't fail. And if we allow the universe to assist in our decision making, we can't fail. And I believe that 100%. I don't know how I do it. I don't know how Frank and I get through the end of the month, because there's always something that happens. Here at his mom's, money is not an object now. Money was always the topic of conversation for me. Money was always a sore subject for me. I have less money than I ever had in my entire life, and money is not an object because I didn't make money the focal point anymore.
Mm.
It didn't make money
That's
the focal
key.
point. It
That's
was key.
absolutely key.
It was key, and it was hard. It was
Yeah.
hard. I didn't realize a lot of my financial problems came because my focus or my drive or my attention was put in the wrong place. So money, it was never enough money. Now it's like everything's paid. My bills are always on time. My focus is different. Those things aren't important. The pocketbooks and the trips and the dinners and the entertaining yourself and going here and doing that and seeing this, and none of that is important anymore. I'm not keeping up with anyone anymore. I don't have anything to prove to anyone anymore. I don't
Yes.
care. Do you know what I mean? I wear yoga pants every day. I don't care anymore. Do you know?
Yeah.
It's different. I love me more now, and that's just the way it is now, and Frank was funny because Frank was like, let it go, you're not going back to work, it's going to kill you, you're not doing that again, stop thinking you're doing it again. And it's like, oh well, and that part of the programming was the hardest part, really was it still is hard for me. I still feel guilty that I don't go to a job every day.
I remember that feeling because it is such a huge ingrained work ethic.
Yeah,
I
it's
used to
hard.
feel bad even phoning in sick.
Yeah, me too. Oh, well, we used to work from home because we
Mm.
had unlimited sick days. But
Mhm.
you
Wow.
don't
Wow.
use that because
You
unlimited means,
one.
yeah, you're going to be working from home. You're taking your
Mm.
laptop, and instead of coughing in the office, you're going to be coughing in your house and working and then sleeping and then getting up and working again.
Mhm.
So, yeah, so it was and a lot of people thought I was selfish in the beginning for not working. How could you do that? How could you not work? How are you going to live? I'll worry about how I'm going to live. Are you going to write me a check? Are you going to write me a check for my rent at the end of the month? Are you writing me
Exactly
a check
that.
for a grocery bill at the end of the month? Why are you worried about how I'm going to live?
Exactly.
You just want to criticize, and you just want to say what you want to say about how I'm going to live.
Yes.
You know, But I think when you're doing what you're supposed to be doing, the universe guides you in every direction, and I truly believe that.
Mm.
And I know you feel that way because I know
Mm.
you're guided. I know you're guided. You're divinely guided. I know that too. You're
Thank
divinely
you.
guided.
I am instructed. I'm sort of eating a bit of a banana. I know it's just a
No,
bit of a
it's
faux
okay. No, I
pas
have my coffee
on
here too.
air, but
No,
I
it's
just
fine. No.
suddenly I'm doing this cleanse, and
Oh,
I'm on day
really?
14,
Mm-hmm.
and I'm I need to eat. What I want is a burger,
Oh, of course. Yeah. Well,
but I've got
the
fruit.
banana will do. Yeah.
Yeah.
I told Frank the other night I wanted McDonald's so bad. Now, I haven't
Mm,
eaten fast food in I think 3 or 4 years. The last time I ate fast food, and the time before that had to be like 2 years. And the other night I was like, Frank, I want McDonald's, or I want White Cat. I want fast food. And he was like, okay, keep thinking about it because you're not eating it. You know what's going to happen to you if you eat it. You're going to get sick for a few days because you haven't had anything like that in your system. And I'm like, I know, but I want it. And it was like it was like I had like a little breakdown, and I threw like a little tantrum. And then I'm like, what are you craving? You must be craving sugar or salt or something that's pushing you towards fast food because you know you can't eat that. You know
mm.
what's going to happen to you if you eat it. You're going to be sick for days. And I threw a tantrum for about 45 minutes. And then I self-soothed myself. And then I said, okay, I feel better now. He goes, okay, good. Because you weren't going to eat it anyway. I was going to let you eat it. And it's like, you could just lie to me sometimes, Frank, and say, yeah, we're going to get it. And then just not go. But it was like, no, you're not going to eat it. And it was like, the more he said no, the more I wanted it. But I knew, like we hear the ice cream truck because it's the summertime now.
Mm, mm, mm. Mhm.
And in the States, like in New York especially, Mr. Softy is a big deal. The truck comes and you get your ice cream, but I can't eat it because I get sick. Like I can't have anything like that. So Mr. The ice cream truck was here, Mr. Softy, and I was like, Frank, I want ice cream. And he was like, do you want me to go get the truck? And I was like, no, diarrhea is not a good time. I don't want to have diarrhea tonight because that's what's gonna happen to me. I'm gonna eat it. It's gonna be 4 minutes of heaven and bliss, and then I'm gonna be sick for 6 hours.
Oh
And
no.
but it's like everything else. When the universe is in line, is aligned with you, it works out. It just works out, and I can't say enough about it because once I trusted myself enough, and once I trusted in the universe, and once I trusted in listening and seeing the signs, I have never been let down. I
Yeah.
really haven't. And it was hard and it took a long time because I was afraid. I didn't have I guess the faith I needed. But now I have it, and now I listen all the time. I look and I listen and I wait for responses, and the universe will navigate the course one way or another.
Yeah.
Way or another.
Oh, that's beautiful.
Oh, thank you.
Yeah, I feel like if I just want to take off and just do the job and get it done. So that's up to creator.
It is. It is. It is. But you know what? They'll bring in, they'll bring in everything you need. The people, the place, the how, the when, the cash. I mean, that's just the way it is. You just have to be patient. Oh, well, no, I know, I know, I know, I know. Like Frank is like, oh, I don't want to live here anymore. I want to just go to the next thing. I want the next stage of our life to begin. And I'm like, the universe is not ready for that to happen yet. We
Hmm.
have to stay here a little longer. We're supposed to be here. We're supposed to be doing what we're doing. We can't, you can't push it, and you can't threaten the universe, and you can't say, well, if you're not ready, because then the universe is like, oh, okay, I'm not ready. Okay, wait to see what happens now. you
Yeah.
know and then you'll have 10,000 things you'll have to deal with all at once.
Yes.
So you're in a great position because now you just have to align with receiving
Yes.
and wait.
Yeah. In alignment receiving.
Yeah, you're lined up to receive. You have to wait now.
Yeah.
Not a
I'm
long
just
time.
allowing that to just, I'm really paying attention to that allowing.
It's hard.
Mm.
The allowing is hard. There was a very one of the sweet girls on Expanding the Universe, Kala. She comes up on the show with Aaron, and she offered me a healing. Uh, I think a month ago, but we were missing one of the cats, and I was not in the receiving mode, and I did not want to receive her healing if I wasn't in the receiving mode for the healing, because
Hmm.
if I can't if I can't give anything back, I don't want to receive. So I have to energetically, I have to be able to give something back, because I don't want to just receive. I'm not a taker. I just don't want to take and not give. And it's an energy exchange. So I was not in the receiving mode. So I told her I wasn't ready for her healing. And I didn't want her to think I was being um, unappreciative, but I wasn't in a place to receive. And she, it's so funny. It's like these people come into your life, like you came into my life, and you from another country, and I saw you for 2 seconds and I was in love. I talked to you for a minute on the phone and I was in love. And I feel that way with her. I feel this very special connection. Although it was brief, it was a very special connection. And she's healing as well. Like, I feel like our stories were a little similar. She had gone through a lot of, I had gone through a lot of the situations that she had gone through. So I think I understood very well where she was coming from. And in particular, I felt that she herself was healing and growing, because she's basically doing what you're doing. She's just venturing out and trying on this new life. And so far, it's been working for her. And I was so happy, having heard some of her story, that that's the direction she was going in, that I didn't want to take a healing if I couldn't give her anything in return energetically,
Mm.
because I want her to succeed.
Yeah.
And she will succeed, and she knows she'll succeed, because the universe is guiding her energetically as well. So I do have to go back, and I do want to receive the healing, but I want to be in the receiving mode when it happens. Because she is healing, and I don't want to take anything from her, because she is healing as well. Because
Hmm. Hmm. Hmm.
you can actually, I mean, look how beautiful you're radiating. You're radiating this glow, this beauty, and I think it's because you are in a place, you are where you want to be. Do you know, you're where you want to be. There's no I don't see, there's just this lovely energy around you, and coming off of you, because you are in a place, it may be hard, and it may be lonely at times, and it may be frustrating, but you're doing what you're supposed to be doing, and that's beautiful. I have to kind of
Thank
figure
you.
that out. I have to figure out, you know, not everyone knows what they should be doing, or doing these wonderful, profound things. I'm okay with being in the background, just holding it up in the background. Like, I'm okay with that. For me, that's good. If I can hold it up for you, hold space for you, and you can do your thing, that's wonderful. That's enough for me. I don't have this calling to do anything great or wonderful. I just want to be. And if I'm
Exactly.
going to be, I want to be the best I can be in my heart. You know what I mean? In my mind. I just want to be. I want to exist. And I want to hold space for those who want to do. Like Frank. Frank is doing something he dreamed about doing. And I provide an opportunity for him to do that. And I'm aware of that. And I take credit for that. And I know my place in that, and it's a beautiful thing, because letting him do what he's good at and watching him do it is amazing, and he'll say to me, "Oh, you're always in the background and you want your anonymity, you don't want anyone to know what you do, and you want me to tell stories about the things you do for me." And it's like, because it's not relevant. It's just, I know I can be, and whatever you need, I know I can do. I inherently, I know. So let me do what I do in the background, and you do what you do in the foreground, and then we come together after. And but you're
That's
not
it.
one of those people, you're supposed to be in the foreground. You're supposed to be in the center. You're supposed to be doing what you're doing. You have to do that. You have to uplift the world. You're part of the world. You have to uplift these women. These women need to know that they can come somewhere and get relief from something. These women need to know that they can be supported, and they don't have to, you don't have to make another woman feel bad so you can feel better. We can uplift each other. Your story, because it's worse than mine or more tearful than mine, doesn't mean it's a bigger story. It's just as important as my story. It's where it fits in your world. But women need to know they can be supported by other women and not be brought down, and keep the emotional out of it. Yes, they're emotional healings, they're spiritual healings, but you're going there to get better. You're going
Yes.
there to get better from something. So align yourself with that. And these women do need a place to be uplifted. And that's what you're bringing. That's what you're providing. And then you are going to have this beautiful network of you don't even, I can see, you don't even see it yet. I mean, I think you do see it, but you don't even see it yet. It's going to be beautiful. And once, see, you're building momentum, and you've been building momentum since you've settled in. That momentum can't be stopped. It's like a
Mm.
bowling ball. That momentum can't be stopped. There's no way it can be stopped. It may not be going in the direction you want it to be going right now, but that momentum does not slow down. This is when the people are going to be coming in, and they have to be vetted, because you don't know. Everyone's story is not your story, and being good at business is being in business with people that don't share the same views that you share, but the goal is the same. Frank and I
Yes.
have very different views on things. And he's like, "How could you believe that when I had this experience?" It's like, yeah, he came into the room and talked to you. He didn't talk to me. I don't believe that. I believe this is how it is, but we can't argue logistics. We both got something out of it. The being was in the room. It did happen. I took away a different message than you did. That's okay, and that sounds odd as it is, but this is what's going to happen, because these women need a place to come to be uplifted, because women need to be fixed, because the more women you can fix, the more they can uplift each other. Okay. And then
Exactly.
their children can learn, their daughters can learn. You don't have to be unhappy. You don't have to live a life you think you have to live because you're a woman. Things are different. Things are very different. If you don't decide to have a child, you're not a bad person. If you don't decide to do things the way people have done them for years, you're not crazy. Things will work out. I mean, we'll talk about going to college, their kids going to college after, and you spend $200,000 on college, and they get a job and they're making $42,000 a year. Okay, you know how is that going to help you? You need more money than that. You need to pay that college debt. Do you know what I mean? You also need to know
Mm.
how to be a kind person, because there is nowhere in business that people will teach you how to be kind. You know,
Exactly.
you need to realize
That
that,
is key.
yeah,
Mm.
yes, you can uplift and you could collaborate without stepping on someone.
Exactly. Kindness is a weakness in the old paradigm.
It
You
really is.
see.
And I get stuck in the trap all the time. Kindness is people see kindness as a weakness, because I feed a
Mhm.
stray cat. You're going to take advantage of me? No, I'm very savvy. You will not take advantage of me. And if you think you are, it's because I'm allowing it. Women are also very different than men. Women will allow these things to happen
Mhm.
for the greater good, but don't
Yeah.
yield. Okay, so
Yeah.
but this has to happen for you. I mean, these women need a place to go to be uplifted. They need to learn how to uplift each other, because we have to stop with the bringing a sister down. And I mean that.
Yes.
You
Yes.
don't have to
It's
climb on my
true.
back to get ahead. You can help me, and if you don't know how to help me, then just get out of the way and wish me well. That's it.
Yeah,
Tell
that's
me
simple.
why my plan is not going to work, because then there are these people out there that would rather be wrong and just tell you why your plan will not work, instead
Yes.
of saying, okay, well, you know what, You're an independent woman. If you live this long and you've accomplished this much in your life, have at it. No, there are people that are just put in our lives just to tell us what we can't do. Well, I don't
Yeah,
wanna hear.
implant.
I don't wanna
Mhm.
hear why I can't do it. I didn't ask you for 10 reasons why I can't do this. That wasn't even part of the conversation, but now you made it your business to tell me why you think I can't live this way, or why I can't do that, or why this business won't work, or, why my modality is not superior, and it doesn't work like, it doesn't work that way, like, s how can you be hurt uplifting? This is what I don't understand. You know what I mean? I mean, it's gonna benefit everyone because everything you do energetically is coming back. It's a circle. It always comes back. It always comes back. It builds momentum. Do you know? I mean, this is what I don't understand. But this is beautiful. I can't wait until I just can't wait until you work out more of the kinks. I really can't.
Yeah, yeah. I mean, the other aspect is the education aspect for younger women that don't might not necessarily go to school,
Right.
have to leave school at 14 or
Absolutely.
16, don't go to university. So what benefit can they bring into their own lives, the lives of their families, but not just turning into a breeder, you know?
Oh, I do know. Not just turning into a breeder. It's purpose, working with purpose.
Mm,
Absolutely.
yeah.
I was hard for me because I was criticized a lot of, oh, it's a waste of a uterus. How could you not want to have a child?
Oh,
You don't know what you're talking. I was originally going to have was going to get my tubes tied. And this is funny because I really don't talk about this, but it's relevant. There was a point in my life when was going to get my tubes tied, and my GYN, I used to see the nurse practitioner, and I loved her, and she understood. She
yeah.
understood. And then I would meet with the GYN after my exam, and we had talked about it, and I shared my views, and I said, this is something I'm thinking about, and he vehemently shut me down.
E.
And I was already in
Mhm,
my 40s. I wasn't,
mhm.
I was already in my 40s. And he shut me down. He was like, "Absolutely not. How could you do that? What if you meet a nice man?" I said, "What if I meet a nice man? I'm already divorced. What if I didn't meet a nice man? And that nice man tried to get me pregnant, and that's not what I wanted. So I have no outlet to protect myself from these things happening. Like I'm an educated woman. I have a steady job. I've taken care of myself. And now you think you're going to talk me out of something that I inherently know I don't want."
Yes. I know exactly what you mean by that because in that profession, there are very few GYN females because they are at home looking after their own children,
Their own
having
children.
children.
Yeah.
So this man steps into your life and tells you what you can and can't do with your womb.
Yes. Yes.
Wow.
After I knew from when I was in the first or the second grade that I did not want to have children because I knew that
Mm,
that's exactly I was going to be a breeder. That was exactly what's going to happen to me. I
yeah.
was a raised I'm Korean and Italian, but I was raised by my father's family, so I don't know my Korean side of my family that well at all. And I was raised in the Bronx in a very Italian neighborhood, and you got married after high school, and you had kids, and you got a house, and you had a backyard, and you had picnics, and you know my life was set up to go that way. I could have very easily gotten married out of high school, had a couple of kids, had someone take care of me, because men were still doing that at that time. Women didn't work. It was like the last of, women who graduated high school and didn't have to go to college if they didn't want to, because there were still men willing to take care of them. And I knew I didn't want that. I wanted to I wanted to make the rules in my own life. I didn't want to have a baby at 18 or 19 and, you
Yeah.
know, have a grandchild, in my early 50s, and and then just be basically a caretaker. I ended up being a caretaker anyway, so the universe gave me exactly what I what I didn't want, but I did have the fortitude to know what I didn't want and to stick to it because it was pushed down my throat at every stop and
Mhm.
turn.
Yeah.
And I had to be strong enough to say that's not what I wanted. I had to be strong enough to say, no, that's not what you're going to choose for my body. Because I could have very easily just been sucked up in all of that. And then I would have never had my own identity because I would have always been taking care of someone else. Always. Because I feel that way sometimes now. I get lost sometimes. There are very few times, but there are times when I get lost in the routine and I feel like I am just here to feed and serve cats and to cook dinners for Frankie. And I get caught up in it and lost in it. And then I pull myself out and I say, no, I'm more than this. I'm not put here for this. I am not the waitress. I am not the cook. I am not a clean, like I am more than that. And I have to snap back out of it and say, no, my life is meant for more than this. I'm here to raise your consciousness. I'm here to help you understand that everyone is worthy of love and everyone will be loved in one way or another. Maybe not the way you think you want to be loved, but you will receive love and you will receive it from me and you will know it came from me and you will be forever changed because of it. That's what I want to do. That's all I can do. That's all I can do right now. Doesn't cost me anything to do that. Doesn't cost me anything to say a kind word to somebody. A kind word that may uplift that person and may change the way that that person looks at a situation. Kindness is free. This is what I don't understand. Kindness is free. Advice is free. Help is free. Why don't people want to share that? Why? What
Mm.
does it cost you to give me advice about a situation that I'm working on? Doesn't cost you anything. A tip or a trick, right?
Mhm.
Why is that so difficult? And that's why we need women to uplift other women so that they share their knowledge and they share their experiences. Frank is like, oh my God, you think you know everything. And it's like, no, I don't think I know everything. I've had many experiences. I've had experiences in every area of my life and I've applied them in somehow, like I'll tell him, hang a nail, can you hang put a nail in the wall. I want a picture hung. And he would, in the beginning, he would get so nervous. Well, when I was young, my dad would yell at me if I did something wrong. I said, but you're a grown man now. And if you do it wrong, we'll take it out and we'll do it again. And no one's going to, the property brothers aren't coming and critiquing your work. No one cares if it's crooked. I just want to be able to hang my keys. Like, take the pressure off yourself. People make mistakes. And again, that's just an example. But if you make a mistake in your life, you just stop where you are and you start over. And I don't think people realize, like, it doesn't matter. No one's looking.
Mhm.
You make a
Mhm.
mistake, you stumble, you fall, you pick yourself up from where you are and you start over. In business, things don't happen the way you want them to happen. Um, Contracts are not honored the way they should be. Promises are not kept. That's just life. That's just the way it is. We rebound from that. And when we are as open as we can energetically, what we need comes. And we have to believe that. You have to have faith that that's how it will be.
That's just beautiful. I was just rechecking and having a moment of
Oh,
faith. Angela, do you still have faith? Yes, you do.
you have faith. Of course, you have faith. I could see it.
But I have to check.
Oh, oh, one of the stray cats is here to eat. He'll have to wait. Um,
Is it a new one?
yeah, this is a new one. This was the cat I was feeding for a couple of days. I thought it was the cat we had, but it was a completely different cat. He looks just like that cat. And then I was like, okay, well, there's food. So now he's
Yeah, might as well.
yeah, so now he's one of our regulars. So I mean, but it's fine. He'll wait in the yard until I feed him. But yeah, you have no choice. You have to keep doing what you're doing.
Yeah, yeah. There's no stopping now.
No, no
No
stopping now.
stopping.
Too much momentum. Too much momentum.
Exactly. I wonder what would happen if you fell off momentum.
You just pick up again. You just start again. You
Yeah.
start again. Frank, I've had some really hard days here. Really
Mm.
energetically low, really hard days.
Mm-hmm.
And where for a day or two or sometimes 3, I am not productive. I don't get anything done. I just get basically the day-to-day responsibilities done. And I used to beat myself up about it. I used to be very hard on myself in the beginning. Like, what did you do today? What did you get done? Did you do anything that added value? And not every day you can add value to something, and I
Mm-hmm.
think if you are unrealistic and you think every day you're going to be the best part of society that you can, and every day you're going to add value to the workplace, and every day you're going to uplift and make someone's life more beautiful. It doesn't happen. I mean, you can't do that every day. Sometimes there are just days when nothing gets done. Sometimes there are just days when everything falls apart. Sometimes there are just days when you don't get out of bed, and you have to allow that, and you have to own it. Don't be a victim of it. If I'm not getting out of bed and am not taking a shower until 4 o'clock in the afternoon, that's on me. I own it. I don't blame the universe, and I don't blame the circumstance, and I don't blame the situations. I say, you know what? Today was not a good day. Tomorrow will be better. And I declare that tomorrow will be better, and it will, because I've declared it, because I don't want to wallow in this, but we have those days. You know, I, you know, the Gina, the the whole situation with Gina really hurt my heart.
Right, I've got to stop you there just for a second. You
Oh,
need to know this. In the chat room earlier on, there were people talking about she's not dead,
what?
right? Um, hold on. Jen says that GoFundMe. Yes, all right, okay. So Jen says that she's not dead. It's a she has only been diagnosed and not been projected to have much time by the doctors that have examined her. So she's actually still alive, even though there was a crowdfunding thing,
Yeah.
um, and in that it alludes to her being dead.
Oh, okay. Okay.
Um, so the reality is that she's not dead.
Okay.
Yeah, and yeah. So I'm just, that's, I'm really pleased she's alive. The
Oh,
Queen of England had a rerun like this. There was a press release a few years ago that she was dead, but she
really?
wasn't. They just made a mistake.
Okay. Okay. I'll have to
So,
find out about that after, but okay. Okay.
yeah, just to
But
let
that
you know
did
that.
it did. It hit me. It I felt paralyzed, and I'm not really sure why. Like
Mm,
yeah, I had a very hard time. So I'm very, if this is true, I'm very happy, because I had a very hard time with that one. I really did. She has she has grandchildren. She has a daughter and beautiful grandchildren. I just, but the point is, again, like, you have to allow yourself these times when you're just on the floor and you can't pick yourself up. Just give yourself the time. And then, because I think if we constantly pushing ourselves and we don't give ourselves time to react to what's happening, I don't think I don't know if we make the right decisions.
mm,
I don't know if we make the right decisions. I think sometimes we just need time to think, and maybe even not to respond, but just to think and decide what the next move should be,
mhm.
because we have to be careful about the decisions that we make sure that they're correct decisions. Wow, I'm just thrown by this now, because I didn't have the comments on. I just put them on so I could see them. I didn't have them.
Yeah. So you get the general idea that
I do. I do.
it's this misconstruing of things. Hello, Aaron. I love you, Angela and Paula. Oh, Frank's there as well. Great conversation, ladies. Love you both. Greetings, fearless family. Sam, Gary in there. Rossio. Hello, Andrew Sly.
Yeah,
Hello.
everyone's every. To just everyone is so
Beautiful.
supportive. It is. It's beautiful. And I mean, just the I don't have a big, like I said, I don't have a big social media presence. I don't respond to everyone's comments. I don't. And I always feel the love. And I think the people in the Fearless group understand that about me. It's not I'm just I like to stay away I like to stay away from it, but they always send love.
Hmm.
They get it. They get that I'm not perfect. They get that I'm not a big social person like Aaron's show. Like at 8 o'clock, it's 11 o'clock, it's 11 p.m. here. It's hard. My day starts at 4:45, 5 o'clock in the morning sometimes, not because I want it to, just because it does. So it's hard, but these people understand me and they love me and they send love all the time. And I think just that in itself is a beautiful thing. Just someone to take time out of their day to send you a message to tell you they love you. You know what I mean?
Yeah, that is
And
beautiful.
but it is beautiful, and I've never experienced this until we started this family. I mean, now people are always sending love and just dropping a note to say hi, thinking of you, or I mean, they're meeting people all across the country are meeting each other. I mean, we got to meet you, and then you came back around. I mean, I got to see the beginning of your journey, and I was almost at the end. So for me, this was beautiful. I mean, this is more than, when Frank and I just started talking about the idea of having a place where people could come together, we had no idea it was going to be like this. And this is from the heart, one of the most beautiful things I've ever been a part of. I mean, these are people that we don't know, people from different walks of life, different levels of awareness, different tragedies that brought us together, or situations that brought us together. And these people, I feel, and I mean this, if I needed something, and this is funny because I have a family, if I needed something and I asked right now on air, at least four people would say, I have what you need. I can give you what you need. And the beauty in that, I can't even, it's unspeakable that I would never dare say it, because I know that I would get it. There are people in this room right now. If I needed rent money, if I said I can't pay my rent and I need rent money today, I know at least four of these people would write me a check today. And that's a beautiful thing, because people don't do that.
Yes.
People don't do that for their own family. And this is a group of people that have come together from all over the world, okay? Who would do things for other people that they've never met, that they wouldn't do for their own family.
Yeah,
That's
right.
that's a beautiful thing. And that's a
Mm.
I mean,
Mhm.
honestly, when you and Aaron came, I wish you could have stayed, but there was no, I mean, Aaron, like I say, I always joke, my apartment is too small for Aaron because he's gigantic. So it's like having a Great Dane in a New York City apartment. You just don't do it. You'd have to keep him outside, because otherwise we'd have to fold him in half and stick him somewhere. But
Oh, he's saying hello to you at the moment.
oh, he
Oh,
is. Oh, that's sweet. Aaron, I love you. But it's just a this is a beautiful thing. I mean, I've never been a part of anything like this in my life. And I can't I don't even have words. I'm grateful for all of the people that come together. Every single person adds value. Every single person adds their part of the story. Heart, love, sadness, truth, and candor. People are very candid. People are very eager to share, eager to be vulnerable, and that's rare, because you don't find people that will share vulnerability in front of you.
oh, never,
No,
never. Very
no,
little, but on very few occasions.
very few occasions.
Yeah.
I mean, myself too. I can probably count on hands how many fingers, how many times I've actually been vulnerable in front of people.
Yes.
And
Same.
in this situation, I would
Mm-hmm.
have no problem. No problem. Honestly, I know what I know, and you know, they may not realize it because I am not as active as Frank is socially. But all of these people that have come together, they all need to know how much I really do love them. And like I fall in love in 2 seconds. Like people laugh at me all the time because I can fall in love in 2 seconds. But I mean it because I don't need to know your story to love you. I just need to see your face. Like that's it. And
Yeah.
feel your energy, and your energy says it all. And if your energy wants to combine with mine and your energy wants to feel what my energy feels like, go ahead because I know it's worth it. I really do. And I mean that. And this whole thing, just you broadcasting and everyone coming together. I really, I have to say it again. I can't put to words how it touches me, how it really touches me, where people are just people and kind and sweet and ready to share. It doesn't happen. It doesn't happen. And I'm so grateful for this because people need to know they have a place to come where they can be vulnerable and they can be themselves and they can ask the hard questions and they can get the honest answers. That's a beautiful thing. That is a beautiful thing in itself. And I know I sound like whatever it sounds like, but
You're beautiful. That's why.
oh, thank you. But this is how I feel. I mean, it's these people. The people
Mm.
without people, you can't do anything. Without people
Exactly.
sharing a common goal, you can't do it. To get a group of ladies to pick a restaurant for dinner is difficult, and you know this. Getting together with a group of girls and finding a place to go for dinner can be a nightmare. Okay, and here we are. We have people all over the world just coming together just to be kind to one another and be supportive of one another, and that's a beautiful thing. And I have to show appreciation and I have to show gratitude for that because they don't have to do this. None of
Yeah.
these people have to do this. I don't have to do this. But this is how I choose to live my life. This is what I want to live. This is what I want to live my life doing. I want to be in a receiving mode to receive love. I want to be able to give love. I want to be able to give love to anyone that needs love. And I want to be able to receive love from anyone who wants to give it to me. Any small kindness that you want to share, I want to receive because it doesn't happen often.
That's just beautiful.
Oh,
I'm
thank you.
there receiving.
You got it, mama. You got it. Angela, you have a special place in my heart, and not because of the
Mm.
healing, and not because just because you do, because you're living your life. When you told me your story, and I listened and I digested it, and I said to myself, "Wow, this is a beautiful thing that you are doing, and you have the support of your kids, which is the most important." Okay, which is the most important because you wanted to be respectful and mindful of what your children thought, which is very important. Okay, because I don't think enough people put importance on what their children really think and feel, how they feel. That to me was a beautiful thing. That to me was a beautiful thing. And doing something you want to do, like, I led by example through, with my nephew. My nephew is going to be 21 now in next month. And we've had very candid conversations, and he said, "I've watched you, Aunt Paulie. I've watched what you've gone through. I've watched it." And I said, "Alex, you can do anything you want to do, and don't ever let anyone tell you you can't. And if they can, it's your job to prove them wrong. It's your job to prove them wrong, and you can be kind. Just be kind. The only thing I ask of you is that you be kind. Don't do that stupid thing that you're thinking of doing, because it is a stupid thing, and that stupid thing may cost you something in the end. So
Yes.
rethink it." And hearing my sister say, "Wow, I kind of understand now what you're talking about. Things are different for me now." That means a lot to me. you know uh my credibility is important. You don't have to believe what I say. You don't have to believe anything that happens. You don't have to believe any story I tell about what happens in this house, but you have to believe that I love you and I care, because that's
Yes.
the truth. You don't have to believe any of the crazy stories, but you have to believe in who I say I am, because who I say I am never changes. I've been the same. I will always be the same. You need it. I have it. You can have it.
Exactly.
And that's how these people are. They all feel the same way. If they can give it, they'll give it, and
It's
they'll
just
give it kindly.
beautiful.
It is. It is. And that's how business should be.
Oh,
You want to,
please.
but that is, you want to make money. I want to make money. You have an idea. I can facilitate that idea. That should be enough.
Yeah,
That should be enough. You know what you want to do. I can help you get there. That's enough for me.
yeah,
You
yeah.
know?
Can we have a win-win situation
Exactly.
without there being all this discord and competition
And
and
drama.
hierarchy?
There's
Oh,
there's no room for it. There's no room for it. We just need to heal. So someone please set this lady up so she could just heal. Like, you just want to heal people. You just want to heal people. You have an idea. Like, I don't. This is what I don't understand. Why is it so difficult? You know, let me do what I'm good at, whatever that is. Let me do what I'm. Give me a place to do what I'm good at, and I
yeah,
will give you a place to do what you're good at. Do you know what I mean? If you can write a check, write a check. Okay, I'll take care of the rest. Do you understand that? That's as easy as that should be. I'll make
that's
money, you'll make money, we'll make money, things go on. That's all it is.
exactly. It's literally that simple.
But it should be that simple.
It should be.
It should be. And that's why I'm glad that you're out there. People know what's going on. People know what's going on with you. So they'll know what you need, and you have to say what you need.
Yeah.
Like we were telling a story before about the stove, on our show about the stove. It ended up, I think I cleaned it and I wet something, and that's why the stove didn't work because I was a fanatic cleaning it. Um, but I had to preface the story with, please, I don't need a stove. Don't send us money for a stove. Like, every time I tell a story, these people are so kind. They want to they want to fix your problems. I'm
Hmm.
just telling a story. But the fact that people have the ability to do that and want to do that and want to share, I think that's a beautiful thing. And I don't want to discourage that, but that's a beautiful thing. But that's how kind these people are, that I had to preface a story with, I don't need a stove. Don't send me money for like, even when we tell a
Hmm.
story about a cat, I'm just telling a story. I don't need money for cat food. Like, because these people are so kind, they'll do that.
Hmm.
If I was a different person, but that's not who I am. I want you to listen to me because you think I'm adding value to your life. I want you to listen to me because you're believing in something that I'm saying to you, not because I want you to, PayPal me. That has nothing to do with it. But if you're in a position to do something, do it. Do you know what I mean? Like, I would fund you completely if I could, but I can't buy underwear sometimes if I don't, I mean, and the funny thing is, I don't even care that I can't. That's the fun. Like, it's not impacting my life that I can't. Whereas it would before, okay? It would freak me out. Like, my priorities are different, but you are in the receiving mode. So I'm hoping that what you need comes to you. I'm hoping that I can facilitate getting what you need to come to you. Because if I can do that in the background, then I'm okay. And that's
Oh, blessings. Thank you.
so I'm trying, Angela. I really am. I'm
Thank you,
letting it all
Paula.
out, but I'm trying. I
I
really am.
love you.
I love
You
you
know,
too.
you're amazing.
I love
And
you
I'm
too.
so pleased that you're on this broadcast.
Oh, thank you. And thank you for inviting me. That was very kind of you too, because I haven't worked, and I don't, I don't know. I don't know. I don't know. I don't know what
You know everything.
I think I know everything. That's what Frank said one day. You know everything. I said, Frank, I only think I know everything. I don't know. Uh, but yeah, no, I loved doing this. This was a good time.
Brilliant. Well, I'm sure you'll be back. We can do other things. I
Oh,
would love to
absolutely.
do some really killer comedy with you sometime. That would be amazing.
You just let me know. My life is a comedy. I think Frank says Frank makes fun of me because I'm so funny all the time. And I said, you don't understand. There was a lot of tragedy there. And there was a lot there was a lot of material to pull from. So, you know,
Tragedy.
But there really was, and that's what makes these things funny. Like, he laughs at me, but like, he doesn't understand, like, I really have had so many experiences, like, even when I tell him, like, cooking something, right? I said I was in a situation. Do you know how many bad meals I had to eat until I learned how to cook? But you have to eat them, because if you don't make it, you don't get better and you don't learn. And he's like, "Oh, I never thought about it that way." And it's like, "Yeah, Frank, thankfully you don't have to eat bad meals, because I've already been through that." Like,
Yeah.
like, and now he's getting it. It's like, I've already done it and failed and cried and bought the t-shirt and had the autographs from all the people that have wronged me, and I just, none of that. There's no room for that anymore. I don't want it. There's no room. I want to be light. I want to go. I don't want to hold on to it. I don't want to, I don't want to, I it doesn't suit me. I don't want to keep it with me. If I don't need it, I want to get rid of it. I don't need those old thoughts. I don't need those old perceptions. I don't need those old views. They're not me anymore. They don't suit me. Like, people think they know you. Um, they know what you let them see. And if you don't let them see anything, then their opinion based off what they think they know is not accurate, because you
Ooh.
let them see anything.
Yeah, it's true.
Do you know what I mean? Like,
Hmm.
if people can tell when you're not being genuine.
Mm.
Anyone can tell
Oh
when you're
yeah,
not being genuine.
yeah.
But I think we do such a good job of not wanting to be judged or criticized or I don't know, I guess evaluated, that we hide these things about ourselves. Like, I make
Mhm.
no apology for how I feel. I make no apologies for the things I say. Um because I don't say anything with malice. I say it because that's how it's impacting me in my life. So everything I say and every opinion I form is based on something that has happened to me directly, not indirectly, directly. Okay. So if I can share, that's fine. If I offend you, I apologize. If you don't like what I say, apologize. If it resonates with you, I'm grateful.
Yeah.
You know, take, climb on my back, take something that I've already been through and apply it. We don't have to all hurt together and all go through these tragedies together and all suffer together. You know what I mean? Take a
Yes.
little bit of what I've done and apply it. I mean, we've all been there. We've all been there. And now I'm ready. I want this half of my life to be smooth sailing, whatever smooth sailing is to me. And right now it's paying all my bills in 1 month and getting through the day. And that's enough for me. I go to bed, I have a clear conscience when I put that my head on that pillow. I know I did the best I could do today. Maybe I'll try a little harder tomorrow. Maybe I won't. That's all I can do. But
Yes.
I make it my business to be as kind as I can, because that doesn't cost me a thing. And
Exactly.
if I slip up, I start from where I am, because not everyone's wonderful. There are times when that like Mary, like my landlady, I just look at her, I just want to shake her and be like, "Mary, come on, Mary. Like, come on." But work with me, Mary. But I mean, you can't do that. So we just try. We try, and hopefully someone gets something out of it, so they don't have to go through that also. They don't have to learn that terrible lesson also.
Yes.
Take it. Take the advice. Take the just take whatever little piece of it is going to help you and apply it somewhere, because life is short
Exactly.
and people don't share. So when people share, take notice. When people share their story and share their life with you and share a piece of their history with you, take notice and
Yes.
listen, because you're being told, you're hearing the information for a specific reason. You just don't know what it is yet. You're hearing this for a I'm hearing this for a specific reason. I'm learning what I can learn because I need to know this. I need to do everything I can to make my life easier and not harder. No more tears. I don't want to cry. I don't want to be upset. I don't want to be heartbroken. This is life, yes, but I want to minimize this.
This is the women's work.
It
It's
is.
the wisdom in action that I love.
But it is. I
Yeah.
listen when you've shared stories, when other ladies have shared stories in the group, I listen and I apply. I apply what I can. You know, yeah, we have to make our own mistakes in order to learn. But you can listen to what happened to other people and say, wow, that resonates with me somewhere. Let me see what I can take from that. Okay. What can I take to make my life easier? What can
Hmm.
I take from that to not have this be so painful? What can I do next time? Like it basically is preparedness, like trying to be prepared for the situations at hand. You try. You can only do what you can. You can't be prepared for everything. The universe is going to throw you a curveball. There's nothing you can do about that. But if we can adapt,
Yes.
we'll be okay.
Yes.
And I think we've all proven that we're very resilient when it comes to that. I mean, in this time we've all adapted, okay, because we're still here, we're still functioning. Just we just got to keep good doing it a little longer. We have to keep pushing through a little longer.
So it's having a dream, an idea, a thought, a choice.
Anything. Yeah.
Yeah. Then strategy.
Yeah. Then strategizing a little bit, seeing
Yeah.
what's realistic, what's not realistic, what can I do today, what can I do tomorrow, and then
Planning and preparedness.
putting a plan together and then acting on it, even if it's just a little momentum, just a little bit, acting on it, and not talking yourself out of it, because how many ideas do we talk ourselves out of every day? How many wonderful ideas do we say, no, 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 no time for that.
Oh,
There's no time for that. No,
yeah.
there's no money for that. There's no money for that. There's no time. That's going to take too much, and it's unfortunate. I mean, we have everyone that's in this chat room has a wealth of information that they can share, a wealth of knowledge that they can give you that will not cost them anything. And they're here, so they're happy to share. Do you understand? This is a group of like minded people who want to be here, who want
Yes.
to add value. And now they're given a venue, they're given an opportunity, they're given a place to do that. And that is important. That's important. This is what means something to me. These people coming together, coming
Beautiful.
together and sharing ideas. It's beautiful. You don't know who anyone is. You don't know what anyone has to offer. You know, you don't know. That's the beauty of it, because you can't just look at someone and say, "Oh, well, you don't know." You really don't. I'm so happy for you. I can't wait to see what's going to happen next. Like I'm
Oh,
so curious.
yeah. Well, it has a structure, this idea. So there are different bolt-on elements that support it. So
Mhm.
it's not completely like a project where you'd throw funding at it and need to
Right.
continually do that.
Right.
It's self-sustaining
Right.
in what it does by itself. But the beauty about it is that we can collaborate with other women who are struggling in the areas of um, problematic menstruation,
Mhm.
any womb issue, so that's any polycystic endometriosis,
Mhm.
issues around pregnancy, the womb, damage to the womb. One of the best skills that I was taught is how to repair cesarean section, right? You can
Really?
imagine how that impacts a woman's life who's had a C-section.
Mhm.
It completely does. It's something that I've experienced. I know that the hard way. That was one of those hard life experiences. And I set about to heal myself of that because it impacted what I could do. It
Really?
impacted everything, all areas of my life. And then I found the right ways of doing it. And, the more I investigated that area and healed that area as a woman, I just realized, well, all of us women have had this damage to our wombs, whether it's medical trauma, whether it's abuse trauma, whether it's just functional, our wombs transmute energy.
Oh,
Are
I
we
believe
just there?
that.
right? In a room full of guys in a corporate environment, what is happening? You are literally using your own frequency to transmute the energy of maybe 12 men in a boardroom who really hate your guts because you're a woman.
Absolutely. And you've given those men power to make decisions over a woman's body. They cannot understand a woman's body.
Yes.
I don't think I don't think men should make decisions about women's bodies because they don't have the experience. I really do. I would never try to tell a man why he feels the way he does because of his prostate. Like I would never make assumptions on why a man feels the way he does. You know, and it's such a the womb means so many different things in so many different cultures and so many different parts of the world. It's the essence of who you are as a woman. It's the center of your womanhood, whether you choose to use your uterus or not. Everything is derived from that sacred space. So having a man make decisions about that, you're putting your fate and you're putting your life into someone else's some you're putting your life and your faith into someone else's hands who does not have an understanding of what that is capable of managing. It's not just the uterus. It's not just a functioning part of your body. It's life springs from there. Men cannot create life the way
Yes.
women can. It's just something that were not they're not able to do. There are decisions that should not be made, that there are things that should not even be discussed, I feel. And I mean that. Like I know how blunt that sounds, but it's just not a physical part of the body that can be examined. It's the core of who we are.
Yes.
It's the source of where all of the trauma and love and hurt is stored for centuries, not just one lifetime, several
Exactly.
lifetimes.
So if you throw in an additional maybe 7 or 8 chastity belts from about 500 years ago, right, you can see how a woman's hips
Yes.
can begin to malform, they're
Yes.
misshapen
Yes.
because of the heavy imprint, they've got back trouble, heart, hips, and womb. Every time with a woman, heart, hips, womb.
You cleared it for me. You cleared some stuff for me too. You cleared some stuff for me. I thought I was having issues, woman's issues, as a result of this lifetime. And you helped me uncover that it was probably multiple lifetimes and probably exactly what I thought it could have been, but I think I was too afraid to say it out loud. It was a female circumcision, past life female circumcision in that area, but I had tied issues to that area of my body to very earthly experiences that I had in this life, which after working it through with you, after the healing with you, I realized it could never have been because that issue was so compounded that it had to have been time, contracts, uh, abuse, or not even abuse, just lack of male understanding in
Yeah,
that area. Like
yeah,
when women have babies and they go through postpartum or they go through emotional roller coaster up and down, that's really still not even understood with other women. Other
yes,
women have a hard time understanding that. Animals in the wild reject their young sometimes for whatever reasons. I mean, why would we not think that that would happen to women who have babies? You know, a lot of these things are out of our control. We've had vaccinations, we've been given injections for different things, medications have side effects. Why would you not think that you're taking a medication because you're trying to get pregnant, or you're trying to stay pregnant, or you're trying to be fertile? So you're taking a medication that is impacting the most vital part of your body, and you're not understanding that the side effects could be extremely impactful of that. Okay, you're taking medication to help you with the only part of the body that allows creation, and those medications were made by men in a lab to help situations that they thought were women's problems 40 years ago.
Made by men, tested
made,
on women.
made by men, tested on women, okay, who did not have any output in what happened after that.
Yeah.
Okay, I was on an antidepressant, and right before I stopped taking it, after I had my first ayahuasca experience, I rationalized it. I put a plan around it. I strategized around how I was going to implement this medication, what I expected to happen as a result of being on this medication. And then when I realized it wasn't enough, when it was time to, this is when I realized I was unhappy at my job, and I knew I didn't want to be there anymore. I went to my doctor and I said, I can't, I think I need more. I need you to increase the amount of antidepressant. You need to increase the milligrams because it's not working enough. I need more. And he said, no problem, I can do that. And on the car ride home from the doctor's office, I thought about the conversation that I had with my doctor, who is a man. And I realized that his response to me was to get through my life was to take more medication. And I said, that's not the right response. I need to change something. Okay. Because I'm putting a band aid on the problem. I'm taking more medication. I'm putting a band aid on this problem. And then I had a very logistic, realistic talk with myself on the way home. And I said, no, this is stopping. This is not normal. This is stopping. It's not normal. I can get through this without medication. I need to do something else. And then I said no. And I stopped. And then, throughout the years, and then like your healing allowed me to stop the other medication. But I had to look at what I was shown, and I had to look at what was uncovered and what came up, Angela.
Yeah.
It was hard. It really was, because I guess I was in shock at what I knew to be true, but that I wouldn't allow myself to really work through. And I had to face it because now you had unearthed it, and I knew what I had to do next to physically heal. I knew that I needed to go through each layer, and I needed to break down everything that you brought up as an issue, and I needed to really look at it. And if I couldn't see anything, I needed to respect when it was coming from, when in history this could have impacted me. And to put it in its place and to say, okay, this is something that is going to take a lot longer for me to heal than this thing. I don't have what I need to heal this now, but I can heal this part. And in healing, in breaking it down and picking and choosing the things you can heal, you actually put the other things into perspective, because it's like you put a place marker there and you say, I need to revisit this, and I need to see why this keeps coming up. And it came up in the past, it's come up again. I'm not looking at it correctly. And I need to talk to people, because maybe another woman is going through exactly what I'm going through. Maybe another woman is feeling what I'm feeling. Now it's a very hard time because now I'm in perimenopause. Um, So things are happening that's out of my control, and I'm trying to handle it as best I could. Um, Rationally, realistically, talking to people that are going through similar situations and saying, "Hey, what did you do? What worked for you?" Or what didn't work for you? And if they're willing to share and be honest, that's better for me. You know when someone's sharing with you, you know when someone's being forthcoming with you, you know when someone's trying to give you good advice. And I think if you use your discernment, you can really pull out, you can really you can really get all the questions answered and really help to heal yourself.
That's it. And it's this inquiry, giving yourself that time as
Yeah,
a woman.
it was hard. I mean, there's still a few things that I have to go back to and look at again. Things that came up with us. Um, you asked me a very poignant question, and you said actually you made a statement. You said you liked it better as a man, and before you were even finished asking, I said yes, and I had to revisit that because I answered so quickly. And then I really thought about it, and I realized that in other lifetimes, I think when I was a man, see, I can't even talk because it's true. I knew life was easier to get through
Yeah.
just because the red tape was easier. Okay. Less questions, less explaining, less justifying, because I already was a man. A yes or no will do. When you're a woman, a yes or no doesn't do. You need more to back it. Why?
Yes,
Because
it's
that's
true.
the way it is.
Mm.
Why? And
Mhm.
why do we put up with it? Because we do. Why do we give justification and clarification, and we give every understanding and reason in the book? Is because we think we're being heard, but we're not. We're just having to justify what we're standing by, because if you're a man and you say yes or no, that's the end of it.
Yeah.
Someone can ask why, and then a short answer is given, and that's enough information. And I did like being a man better. I don't know when I was a man. I don't know how long ago it was, but I do know vehemently it was easier being a man. Easier being a man than a woman. And geographical locations make sense now. And I know a lot of the trauma was tied to geography, which is very strange, but it's not strange, because if you can piece together parts of your history, you can kind of figure out what happened along the way. Lifetime, like you can
Exactly.
kind of figure out how you've migrated through from one continent to another. Like, it it's it's overwhelming and it's fascinating. You get that insight and you can really piece together a lot of what could have happened to you, where the trauma could have taken place, what the causes were and why. Was there a war going on? Was it a heightened political time? Were men in power? Was it a religious? Were there religious overtones? Were there tribal overtones?
Mhm.
Was it a village experience? Was it a woman? There were a lot of issues that came up for me, specifically women related, but it was the time women had no power. They were
Yes.
powerless. Then there was another time completely when women did have power, when they were the healers and the shaman that they were meant to be, and people revered them. Okay. And they got their proper place in society, and they weren't misjudged and doubted and ridiculed and ostracized, because I could feel the energy, and I could feel energetically how I felt when you asked me those questions. Where was I? What time of the woman was it? Was it a good time for women? Was it a bad time for women? Was it a good time for religion? What was motivating you oppressing me? What was motivating that? Was it oppression? Was it uplifting? And very few times it was uplifting. Very few times.
Mhm.
Most of the times it was oppressing. And again, specific parts of your body. You have no reign over specific parts of my body. You don't know how my heart works. You don't know how my head works. You don't know how the inner workings of my sexuality works. You don't know where my motivation comes from, loving or hating. You don't know where that comes from unless you know where you've been. And those healings help let you know where you've been. And if you can make the connections, you can kind of piece together your story, because your story is over time. Like, we don't, they don't, people don't get it. It's your story has been your story for thousands and thousands of years. It's not just your story now. All of those things make up who you are. Geography makes up who you are. Where the incidents happened, where were you? When were you? Why did those things happen? And it's very easy to understand if you know the geography, you know the history. Was it the time of woman? Was it the time of man? Those questions are important. A lot of my repressed feelings, a lot of my fundamentally, a lot of my issues were being oppressed, being
Yes.
oppressed physically having my body manipulated to,
Yes.
uh, I guess, to control me or oppress me. Contracts that we've signed, even when you declare, your love for someone or your hatred for someone, those contracts aren't broken over time. Those contracts, if you believe them when you said them, those contracts are honored. When you take
Yeah.
vows, those vows are honored lifetime after lifetime. They're not broken
Yeah.
if you believe them when you took them. There's an understanding that needs to be understood about why we feel certain like why we feel the way we do about things, emphatically right or emphatically wrong, hard opinions on certain things. Those were constructed over time. Those were declarations that we made years and years and years ago that we believed and that we refused to break, like vows of silence and vows of chastity and vows of poverty. If those were taken years ago, they could explain why we live the way we live now, why it's never enough, why there's not enough money or enough love or enough, those vows we took a long time ago, they don't break if you believe them. But your circumstances have changed, your life has changed. We have to break those contracts. They don't suit us anymore in this life. They're holding us back. Those are memories we're not allowed to access.
Exactly. It's like an update.
It really is like it's yeah, it is.
Yeah.
It's like an upload. It
Yeah.
really is. And I got so much and like I said, it wasn't even we were entertaining and you were nice enough to give me the healing in the other room. So I mean, I got more out of it than if we would have scheduled time and I would have been laying on a table and you would have been, with the mask on and doing your job. I got everything I wanted to get out of it because it was important that it happened. And it's important that I fix myself from those things because I don't want repercussions. I want to go into the next whatever the next phase is. I want to go in light and I want to go in clean. And I want to go with as little resistance as possible because that's what it is. It's all resistance. We're resisting this and resisting change and you know, resisting thought. It's like just stop and break it down and heal and pick it up again. Pick it up again wherever you can. And no one knows that better than you. I mean, just that little bit that you did for me. I can't even and I'm just trying to be very clear for the people that are in the chat room, the people that are listening to this. I'm trying to be very clear about why these healings are so important because they're tied, lifetimes are tied. You're doing things and you're making decisions in this lifetime that are tied to decisions and things that we had to do in those lifetimes to survive. We don't have to live to survive anymore. It's a different life.
Yeah.
We're not surviving. We can live now. We've
That's
evolved
it.
enough where we don't have to survive. So that survival mentality, those agreements that we made were made for survival. We don't have to do that anymore. And that's why the healings are important. And that's why the energy work is important. And I just from me, I want people to understand because I got so much out of it. I'm still putting pieces together, still putting, and it's, I'll sit on the couch and I'll watch TV, I'll watch a commercial and a noise, a ring, something will happen and it'll trigger something that happened during the healing. And I'll get maybe a bigger piece of the puzzle or a bigger piece to why that was resistance for me, why that was an issue for me, why it came up for me. And I try to go back into it and heal as much as I can from it because I don't want it to come back. I don't want these things to come back. I don't want them to be an issue. I don't want I wasted so much time living in survival mode the first half of my life and basically reacting to everything that happened to me. I don't want to put that kind of energy out anymore. I want to be able to exist and be and live and smile and have it be a genuine smile and have meaning behind it. Do you know what I mean? I don't want everything to hurt so much. You
Yes.
know, a lot of atrocities, people talk about atrocities and terrible things happen.
Mm.
Terrible things have happened to people since the beginning of time. Terrible things have happened to women since the beginning of time, you know, and we really need to be honest about that and look at it honestly and accept honestly that terrible things have happened to us beyond our control and really heal from that. Because a lot of the issues that, and I'm going to say it again because I don't know who just jumped in, and a lot of the issues that we're dealing with are not issues of this world, are not issues of this time. And people
Yes.
really need to understand that.
Yes. That's very key. That's really very key in it all. Some projected, some remembered, some false memories that might not even be your stuff. But
Yeah.
why should you
Yes.
be living anything other than your own purest trajectory of existence?
Right.
You know?
I
And that,
I I want to be healed. I want to be fixed. I don't want to be broken. I want to be able to be vulnerable in front of somebody and not worry about the repercussions. And I want them to understand that my vulnerability is not a sign of weakness. My vulnerability is to show you that it's okay to open up and to share because you're going to get something out of it. Not because I want to tell a sad story about my childhood or my past or 10 pasts ago, but
mhm.
because I want you to learn from it so you don't have to suffer the same anguish that I suffered for lack of understanding why. We just need to understand more, like, why. You know, like Aaron. I love Aaron. Aaron's going through something right now in his life, and he needs to toughen up and he needs to say no. And that's coming from a woman. I would never He's having an issue with a woman, and I would never, from one woman to another, ever put a woman in a position where she had to defend herself. But Aaron needs to defend himself, and Aaron needs to speak up to himself, and Aaron needs to understand that, yes, you are in this situation, but yes, you do not have to be taken advantage by it. And yes, it is okay to say no. And yes, because it is the sacred feminine, she's not always correct, just because she is the sacred feminine, just because she
Yeah.
is a woman, and that you have a right to feel the way you do, and you have a right to stand up for yourself, and you have a right to say no also.
Yes.
Frank went through a similar situation. Frank, with women being in a vulnerable positions because of women. And I had to tell Frank, it's okay to stand up for yourself too. Not all women are worthy. Not all women are worthy of you.
It's true. It's true.
And it's sad. Yeah. No, it is.
Text space Jesus, somebody said in the chat. Willow, that's so funny. Protect him. Sorry.
No, I think it's funny too. I'm just joking now. Sorry, it's my allergies.
No, it's okay. You're cool. You're absolutely cool.
But I think that, yeah, because it's not fundamentally a fight about men and women. Aaron is
Mm.
in a situation where he does need to speak up for himself. He does need to protect himself, and it's not wrong. You cannot It's okay to be firm, and it's okay to say no, and it's okay to be correct, and it's okay to understand that you're correct. You're not shutting it down.
Hmm.
This is how I feel.
Yeah.
Um, you know, Men are equally as vulnerable.
Mm.
We don't give it enough. We don't think I don't think, because I don't think enough about it. When men are put in a position where they have to be vulnerable because of sexuality or because of the way a situation is playing out with a man and a woman, men don't take the time to heal when they are taken advantage of, when they are put in a situation they don't want to be in, an uncomfortable situation they don't want to be in, and they don't realize that what is sacred to them is sacred to them as well, in the same way and in the same manner, and that needs to be respected too. Like, women take for granted any, like if something happens to a man sexually, or something happens to a man that's inappropriate, or something happens to a man that they don't want to talk about, oh, he's a man, he'll shake it off, he'll get through it.
Mm.
That vulnerability, that sacred space is sacred for a reason. So when there's a violation or something that's unjust, it's just as difficult for a man to get through as a woman, whether that happened in this lifetime or lifetimes ago, and that needs to be worked out too. And I think that sometimes that you can harbor resentment or guilt or lack of understanding for why these things happen, and I don't think men give themselves I don't think they give themselves the space or the time or the proper energy to heal sacredly either. Like, it's
Yes.
sacred.
Yes.
Sacred, period. That part of your body is sacred. That part of your heart and your mind is sacred. Nothing should be taken from you that you do not want taken from you.
Mm.
Period, no matter what it is. And I think men need to deal with that too. And men need to acknowledge that as well.
Oh,
You know,
yes.
so I just we need to heal, because when we heal and when we heal collectively, it's contagious now. You're gonna start going.
I was just trying to turn it off, mute it, so I could be a little bit more gracious.
Oh,
The
I was
sound
done.
being
I
like a
was done, yeah.
cougher
But
off microphone.
it's the same thing. Men don't give them time. I don't think men allow allow themselves the time to think about that
Mm.
in,
Mm-hmm.
in the way that they should. They are sacred too. Their bodies are sacred too. You know, I think women just expect men to shrug things off and don't give the healing enough time, because men are inward. They don't express outwardly. Like, how I'm feeling, because I express everything. Anyone at any moment knows how I'm feeling because I can tell them. But
Yeah.
sometimes I can't process all your feelings I can't process all your feelings at once. Frank's like, I
Mm.
I I don't even know what I want for dinner. Like, what I mean? You're talking about dinner and it's 12 o'clock. Like, I can't process that. It's like, come on, you've evolved a little more since then. Come on, like, share. And but it's and Aaron, I mean it, and you know exactly what I'm talking about, and I'm not going to say it because it's your business, but sometimes no means no. Okay, because the more you give, the more someone will take, and they don't deserve it. And I'm not saying it. I'm being very hello, baby. I'm being very specific. Thank you. He fixes everything. Aaron, listen to me. I've lived a long time and I've been in a lot of situations, and I've been in your situation. I walked away from everything. When I left, I didn't want anything legally. I did not, because I didn't work for it. It wasn't mine. I didn't want anything I didn't work for. You need to really you need to love yourself, and you need to say politely, no. I cannot do this. And if no is not enough, then everyone else needs to tell you the same thing. And I'm sure Willow will tell you exactly the same thing. Sometimes it's got to be a no. Okay? Because you have to recover from this. When I got out of my relationship, it took a long time to recover because I lost everything. And I didn't fight for anything because I didn't want anything. I just wanted out of the relationship. You have to pick up the pieces and recover from that physically as well as emotionally, but physically and financially. And that may not be as easy as you think it's going to be. So be realistic and make sure you make smart decisions, Aaron. And I'm telling this only from my experience, not and this is not emotion based either. This is what I mean by keeping it fact based. This has nothing to do with emotion. This has to do with reality. So take care of your business. And I love you. Grandma loves you. Sorry, Angela. I'm sorry. I love him, and he's dopey sometimes, and I'm shaking.
Grandma Paula. Oh,
Oh, I
you
have
can,
another owl for you. I'm gonna mail it to
yeah,
you.
yeah. Oh, that's sweet. A pair of owls. Wow.
I
Wow.
I love him. I don't know. He's my favorite. I love him. But
I feel like that. I kind of adopted him about a year ago.
you did. You did. Isn't it wonderful though? Isn't
Beautiful.
it wonderful? That's how I feel. I feel like I'm collecting all these people and I love them and I just want to keep them forever. And it's like, do they want to be kept? I don't care. I love them. It's like, I don't care what you want. I love you. And I'm going to let you know. And that's just how it is.
Yeah,
And yeah,
exactly.
and there's
Exactly.
no harm in that. But, I mean, everyone's worried about, a lot of people are worried about the sacred feminine. But there are men out there doing good work, men who need to be acknowledged, like this guy who
He's just carrying a box.
I know it's cat food, cat
Oh,
toys.
cat food.
It's always cat food. It's cat food or cat toys or
Mm.
cat something. I ruined this man's life. Okay, he was doing just fine on his own, and then he met me, and now we just have all these cats, and not all men are evil, and not all men are bad, and
Mhm.
there are men that need healing also, and need to give themselves the time to heal, because if you don't, you're going to get the same set of problems all over again,
Mm.
because men don't heal like women. um, you need separation, and you need time, and you need honesty, and you need to look at your situation in a very frank and realistic way. And that's what me and Frank did in the beginning. We put it all on the table, all of it on the table, and I said it's either going to work or it's not, but either way, I'm going to be upfront. You're going to be upfront, whether we like it or not, because it's going to come out. Everything always comes out. The universe, like for us specifically, the universe, there is no, you can't lie. The universe will rat you out. He was telling a story one day. He didn't want to do something in the beginning. And he told me this story, and the universe was like, no, none of that's true. And I'm like, they're telling me none of it's true. And he was like, well, I just didn't want to do it. And I was like, why did you do that? Just be honest with yourself and be honest with me, because they're going to rat you out anyway. They just did. And then he got it, but it's hard because we have to learn our value. We have to learn our self-worth. You can love another person more than you love yourself. But if you don't love yourself, you will not be respected by anybody. And love is nothing without respect. And love is nothing without boundaries. And love is nothing without being able to say, what you're doing is hurting me. Don't do that anymore. Please don't do that anymore. It hurts me. And when you can do that and you can have an honest dialogue back and forth, then you can try to fix everything. But right
Yeah.
now, you need to do what you have to do for yourself.
Yes.
I'm
I
sorry.
absolutely, I absolutely believe that you have to, and then everything else, like we said, we were talking about all these other
Yeah.
energetic aspects of business, work, life, how you educate your children, who you are as a woman,
Mhm.
all merge into this super expression,
But
and
it
then you
but it
vibrate
does.
that back.
Yeah, it does. It really does. And it really does. I can try to be the best person I can be. But if it's going to break me or to hurt me or to kill me, then I can't do it. I can only do what I can do. And in a relationship, you can only do what you can do. You can't get someone to do what you want. Like I said, the joke, you can't get 5 women to decide where they're going to go for dinner in a restaurant. You can only control your actions. Okay. But your actions say a lot about who you are. don't let someone take advantage of you. Even if you think their situation is worse than yours, you can't say, oh well, that situation, you can't weigh it out like that.
Mm.
You can't weigh it out like that. It's an unhappy situation, and it's going to be an unhappy situation no matter what you do about it, no matter how you handle it. Okay? Nothing you do or give or throw at it is going to make it a better situation. It's just an unhappy situation until it's not. And that's the way it is. Like everything else. You have to be honest about it, because you're going to give and you're going to give, and then you're going to be asked for more and asked for more, and you're going to come up with it, and you're not going to be able to do it. And it's going to be a hole you'll never climb out of. And I'm telling you this from experience.
Same. I can completely get that. I've experienced exactly the same. And then, do you know what? On either side, I had to go through this twice, maybe 3 times, twice. And it was so intense that I was just, I had nothing to give anybody. I had nothing to give my own children. I had nothing to give myself. And in the meantime, I was plummeting just like that. So, and it was this, and I didn't, there was a point where I didn't actually even know what self-nurture meant.
Oh, I believe it. I believe
Like,
it.
what even is that?
Yeah.
Good Lord. So when we give that to ourselves, then the magic happens.
But that's the biggest gift. To
Mm-hmm.
yourself. You love yourself. Like I was talking, and I don't tell this story anymore because it's not who I am. It's not my story anymore. But there was a time when I couldn't look at the mirror in the mirror. It was years. Couldn't look at myself in the mirror.
Yeah.
And I said, that's no way to live. I have to live with this face until I die, and I have to be able to look at it.
Yes, and
Because,
accept it.
yeah, because this is it. This is all I have. I have me until I die. I have
Yeah.
me. I might as well like me.
Yeah.
Because if I can't look at myself in the mirror and I can't like me, then this relationship is not going to work out. We're going to be together for a long time. I mean, you have to do what you have to do without being taken advantage of. You can be good and you can be nice and you can think you're doing everything the right way, but someone else, people will take as much as you are willing to give. It's human nature.
Yeah.
Because what they can't take from you emotionally, they will take from you physically.
Yeah.
Because they're self-soothing, they're trying to fill a need. So no matter what it
Yes.
is, it doesn't matter. Whatever you're willing to give, they will take. Frank knows.
Yeah.
Frank.
Terrible.
I'm no, Frank knows. You get you're offering, it's on the table. I'm going to take it. And if I can't take it emotionally, I'm taking it physically because I think that will make me feel better in the short term. And that's people. That's people. Even Frank, like he'll tell me, "Oh, you're getting a little spoiled now. Taking advantage of me. I've been washing the dishes and I've been cleaning. You're just slowly pulling back the responsibilities, and I do it. I admit that I do it. He takes care of stuff, and I love it when he takes care of stuff. But I can't. He's like, okay, now this is my new job. Now because I've done this so well, now this is another job that I have, and that's not fair. And he called it out, and I corrected my behavior. Didn't want to, liked getting away with it. But you know what? At the end of the night, I have to settle that up with myself. I know what I'm doing. I know I'm taking advantage of you, and you know I'm taking advantage of you. So it's okay because I'm doing it. No, it's not okay. It's not okay. And he'll tell me, oh, I got a new job. This is my new job now. You're never going to do this again. It's my job. And then I check myself and I check my behavior. And then I go look in the mirror and I go, stop being a fuck. You're not being nice. Stop it. Stop that. You're not being nice. You know what I mean?
I do know what you mean. I'm guilty. I've formerly been guilty of that.
Oh, I do it. He does it. I do it. But we catch ourselves, and that's how we base our relationship. Look, don't take advantage. I'm not here for you to take advantage of me. I'm here to make your life better. I'm not here to make you happy. You're supposed to make you happy. I'm here to add value, and I'm here to make you laugh. But I'm not here to make you happy. It's not my job. Your happiness is not my job.
Exactly.
And we maintain that on a personal and a professional level. Your happiness is not my job.
Yeah.
Not my job to make you happy. It's not my job to keep you happy. It's not my job to keep you here. It's not my job to keep you wanting to be here.
Yeah.
It's my job to live the best life I can, and hopefully you'll live the best life you can, and then we can meet in the middle somewhere. But I'll take advantage anywhere I can. And it's human nature. And I do it, and I get caught doing it. I get busted, and then I have to tell myself, stop doing that. But, we learn. But you need to learn. Aaron, you see, you have 2 seasoned women here who've been divorced before. So
Yeah.
yeah. Yeah.
Gosh, you poor man. And yeah, recovering and operating. Oh, terrible, terrible state of affairs. But it's one that I'm sure you'll be more than capable of outcreating
Oh,
that
he definitely
that
is.
we will talk anyway about that. So I'm going to draw it to a close. I actually need to go to the bathroom.
Oh, oh my goodness, Angela, I monopolized this whole thing.
No. It's eating fruit and drinking water, and I'm off the coffee. Can you believe it?
No, I can't.
I can't believe it.
I
I love
actually
it.
think about it and I get nervous being off the coffee because we have a friend now who's not drinking coffee because she's going to have an eye experience. And it's killing me for her that she can't have coffee. And I actually thought about it and I got nervous. And I was like, not the coffee. Take anything away, but not the coffee. You can have anything but the coffee. I'd give up ice cream for coffee.
Wow.
And Frank knows how much I love ice cream, but I would give ice cream up for coffee. If I could never have ice cream again, leave my coffee. Leave me alone with
See,
coffee.
I would give up eating for coffee, and I have done.
I would too, because if my coffee day doesn't start right,
Mm,
it's a wrap. And it really is the only. And Willow, I love you too, and you know what I mean, girl. You know exactly what I mean, and you are an angel. You're an actual angel here
cheers.
on earth with a cute face that I want to kiss. I want to bite your cheeks, and you know what I'm talking about, Willow. So talk some sense into this person.
Take it from Grandma Angel.
Oh, thank you. But
Yeah.
Willow, you're sweetie and you know. So, but yeah, you take coffee away from me. Like I I don't think I can handle anything if I can't have coffee. I have very few vices, but the vices I have I own. Like I own. Like I use baking soda toothpaste. So I feel like that's an even trade for the
Yeah, same.
has nothing to do with anything, but in my head it makes me feel better. Yeah, I use baking soda toothpaste. So yeah, so I'm good. But Angela, please go to the bathroom. I feel terrible that you.
Yeah, I'm like that. I don't know. Anyway, that's something I would say off air. Anyway, so thank you, everybody, for listening and being with us this evening. It's just been marvelous to have you on here,
Oh, and
Paula,
thank
and
you.
share the experience that you've had and bring that wisdom forth. And then, just being here and holding here with your presence as a woman for women's work, supporting me. It's absolutely amazing. And I love you dearly, sister.
And I love you dearly, sister. I love you in a way that you will never understand what you've done for me. I love you in a way you will never understand. And I am grateful to you. And I love you. And I wish you every success and every happiness in the world. And I hope to talk to you soon.
Yes, we need to have a catch up anyway.
Definitely.
So thank you everybody else for listening. That's just absolutely marvelous. My name is Angela Miller. This has been the lovely Paula Milo. This is Women's Work International and part of the fabulous Expanded Understanding podcast, which aims to enlighten your very experience by helping you to cultivate your inner awakening at this really key time in humanity. Love you. So really great. Love everyone. And may we all just be.
Yeah. And thank you again for having me, Angela. Thank you. I love you.
Anytime, sweetheart.
Thank you.
Anytime. Okay. Blessings to everybody. And we'll see you again next Monday. at 9 p.m. GMT, EST, 4 p.m. and 1 p.m. PST. Anywhere else, I've got no idea. Bless you all. I love you and see you again really soon.
See you soon.
Bye, darling.
Bye.
Bye. What fun.